Yeah. Welcome indeed to a 3-hour broadcast. Of course, I'm here every Saturday and Sunday night from 9 until midnight.
Thanks, Rick. I appreciate that, Rick.
I love you, Gilby.
It's Gilly. It's not Gilby, all right? We're underway. We're talking about, guess what? I'll give you two guesses what we're talking about. We're talking about Clinton or Clinton. Well, it's Clinton, indeed. And I know some of you are probably saying, but Rick, my God, we've talked about Clinton for week after week after week. Well, believe me, I know. Who would know better than me? I've been here talking about it myself. It is, as we say in the world of talk radio and news and all that, the story. And, of course, the story is unfolding as we speak. And I want to remind you as well that I will be on tomorrow. You know, tomorrow morning, here's something for you to do. Live, in-depth team coverage of President Clinton's testimony will begin right here on the big one, WTAM 1100, tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. All 4 hours of it, from 9 until 1 in the afternoon. Dr. Laura, all you Dr. Laura fans, well, she'll be back Tuesday, all right? And I'm going to be on tomorrow night from 11 p.m. until 1 a.m. You'll have to bear with me a little bit. It takes me a while to get in the groove here. I've been ill. I'm getting better, though. I'm on antibiotics and some sort of stuff to clear out your lungs and coming along nicely. Got my temperature back to normal, knock on wood. We'll be stumbling along as best we can this evening. Good board op Tom has become good screener Tom. He has a touch of the green apple quick step, the intestinal flu. So good screener Dan has become good board op Dan. Now, Dan claims to have not done many live shows, but that's okay. You'll be fine. Relax. If you want to call here, 578-1100 in the 216 area code, toll-free 888-723-WTAM, the phone numbers. I have a web page. You want to go there. There's a chat room. That's www.cfsmedia.com/Gilly Show. I'm sure operators are standing by. What are we discussing this evening about Clinton? I'll tell you, the more I study everything that's coming out in the paper, the more with the videotape being released, the testimony and everything, you know what this really boils down to, don't you? Now, the lying, of course, is the reason why President Clinton should resign or be impeached. But that's not what makes it interesting and titillating. Let's get right to the meat of the issue. We know what it is. It's sex. That's what it's about. It's about sex. It's like a damned soap opera. Online bookseller Amazon.com has a video hit on its hands. What's its #1 video bestseller? Well, it's not Titanic. Amazon says its top seller is a home video version of President Clinton's grand jury testimony. Would you buy this? Amazon is offering a VHS version of the testimony for $9.95. A spokesman says production of the tape will begin as soon as the testimony is made public tomorrow morning, and copies should begin shipping by the end of the week. And I was considering this. Before the program, I thought, well, I don't want to get too crude or anything, but I was just considering the fact that if you were a woman, or let's say you were a man who's gay, and you were an intern at the White House, would you have sex with President Clinton? Well, I don't understand the attraction here. Or if you were the president, and you were 50 years old, would you compromise your position by having sex with Monica Lewinski? Maybe they're made for each other. I'm just considering whether this tape should be released or not. Well, guess what? It doesn't really matter whether you think it should be released or not. It is going to be released. Absolutely, and without a doubt. And something, did you see today's paper? See, I start reading these things and I start thinking it's more of a soap opera as we speak, and I have some problems with what I read. Right out of the Plain Dealer, big article, Clinton star encounter a clash of personalities. On August 3rd, in the White House map room, President Clinton rolled up his shirt sleeve in the presence of an agent of the FBI and a prosecutor from the Office of the Whitewater Independent Counsel, Kenneth Starr. The White House physician, Dr. Connie Maniero, drew a vial of the president's blood. Clinton considered it the ultimate indignity in a year of public humiliations. Why? Why? Is he above the law? Starr would soon match the president's DNA with a semen stain on a navy blue dress and would be able to prove beyond almost all doubt that Clinton had engaged in some type of sexual activity. 7 months of the president's lies were about to unravel. When they took the blood from his arm, the friend said last week, that's when it really hit home. The moment in the map room was a culmination of years of personal animosity and corrosive bitterness between Clinton and Starr. And I've heard people say over and over, they think Starr's gone too far. They think it's a personal thing. Now here's where it gets really odd. Page 2. As I continued reading in the article, and it talks about how Starr and Clinton just have not gotten along for so long now, it says, so intense is Clinton's obsession with Starr that he has gone so far as to tell several members of his administration, are you listening to me closely? The prosecutor was partly to blame for his affair with Lewinsky, according to an official who heard the remarks. Clinton told those associates he was so angry about the intrusiveness of Starr's inquiries that he sought comfort in a relationship with Lewinsky. Now, all of a sudden, my BS alarm goes off. Can you believe this? Is this Peyton Place? Is this Days of Our Lives or what? Now everything's Ken Starr's fault. Where has justice gone in America? This is the strangest thing in the world. I can't understand it. And this is a take on it that you've not heard anywhere else either. My mother gave this to me. She went to church. She was a greeter this morning. She said, here, I thought you might like to read this, and handed it to me. From the pastor's desk. It's called It Takes One to Know One. Now, is the pastor a Republican or a Democrat? I don't know. Just listen up. Tell me what you think. Let me take this opportunity to admit that I am by nature a liar. I hope that I am, like someone in a 12-step program, a recovering liar. It's not easy to cope with, since I was born to it like all of Adam's offsprings. Of course, no one had to teach me to lie either. The first time my parents asked me sternly, "Did you do that?" I found the natural skill for deceit and denial was there to take over my false defense. Ever since the deceiver introduced the lie into the world, it has become second nature and hard to resist. I was fortunate that my parents, my school, and the church were patient in standing for the truth. I learned the value of telling the truth, partially because the lie was shown for what it was and often earned punishment. The truth was also shown for what it was and always rewarded. Now, I'm going to read you this, and it has a Christian slant. If you're not a Christian, that's okay. That's not my point in reading it. When I came to know Jesus Christ, who is himself, quote, the way, the truth, and the life, I began to learn the awesome value of truth and the sick and seductive nature of the lie. Truth became more than just a value. It became a tangible treasure. Still, the temptation to lie is indeed seductive and remains a constant threat. I will always be just another liar, trying hard to be truthful and prone to fall off the wagon if I'm not vigilant. As I did a little biblical study into the root of the word lie, I discovered an interesting concept. Let me explain it to you this way. As a Christian and a biblical teacher, now this is being written by a minister, I have often told people that there are about 14 different Greek words that we simply translate as love in our English Bible. This statement is meant to say that there are many nuances to the meaning of the word love that we tend to miss, and that show the unique power of that one great love that God shows. On the other hand, while we have in our English language countless words that indicate a lying, untruth, subterfuge, fiction, deception, fabrication, falsehood, disinformation, obfuscate, evasion, etc., and soften or dilute the definition, there seems to be only one concept in the biblical language. A lie is always a deceit put forth by a deceiver. There's no minor point, by the way. In our culture, we have come to think of the lie as the thing that is separate from the liar. This is a foolish fancy born of self-deception. The lie is never separate from the one who lies. It is a permanent appendage. The same can be said of the truth. When Christ is described, it says, he committed no sin and no deceit was found in his mouth. True instruction was in his mouth and nothing false was found on his lips. He walked with me, that was God, in peace and uprightness and turned many from sin. Truth stays with the teller and shows the character of the one who carries it. Lies stay with the liar and endorse the rebellion against the truth, the bitter fruit of the original deceiver. I'm going to stop now. There's more. Just to add to this, that we don't seem to understand while we hear about the videotape being released and the clash of personalities and President Clinton with this baloney, this crap about how Ken Starr drove him to a relationship with Monica Lewinski? Are you kidding me? Are you insane? Do you believe that in the least? It's just insanity. No, what we've lost track of here is the very reason why Ken Starr went after Bill Clinton, the very reason why he needed to, the very reason someone had to. Will Ken Starr regret this for the rest of his life? Is he at fault? Has he gone too far? Should the videotape be released? Do we need to know this much information? All these questions. Yes, we do. We need to know. Why? It goes all the way back to the Bible. If you're a liar, you're always a liar. Haven't I said here many times? Once you tell a lie, now you're branded a liar. I always trust everyone. Perhaps I'm a fool. I trust someone on the street I don't know. If they told me their car broke down and needed $1 to get gas, I assume they're not lying to me until I give them $1 and see them walk in and buy a bottle of wine or something. Now, they're a liar. Unless you prove to me that you're a liar, you're always telling the truth. Let me continue. What concerns me the most as I look at the impact of the presidential scandal is the number of Americans who have suddenly become avid apologists for lying. Based on the preconceived notions of political ideology, perceived prosperity, and a fear of conflict, they are ready to overlook, not merely forgive the deceit, to separate it from the deceiver, and send a message that the truth is less important than any number of factors in character, leadership, and true concern for our fellow man. That question, let me digress again long enough to give you the weather as well. Weather Watch 3 forecast from Eileen McShay tonight. Low 60s, possible rain tomorrow, high 70s, currently 78 degrees. Let me digress again to say that I had calls last night. Caller said, well, look at all the good things that President Clinton's done for this country. I said, like what? He said, look at the economy. I said, look at the economy. What about it? It wasn't his doing. That was 10 to 12 years ago. Let's put that on the Reaganomics and the Bush administration and everything else. And he came up with a couple other lame ones and finally said, well, he's helping out people. He wants to help. I said, oh, so he's got a good heart. And this man's doing exactly what this pastor has written in this Sunday flyer, saying, I'll overlook the fact that he lied. Why? Because he showed concern for our fellow man. Is it true concern for our fellow man? If he wants to show true concern for his fellow man, President Clinton would say, yep, you caught me, I'm a liar. I'm not worthy to be your president, and I'm sorry, and I resign. Just be a man and say, I'm sorry, and I have to go. You know, I'm thinking of the country. I'm thinking of the party. I'm thinking of you. I'm not thinking of me. That's what he's thinking of. Me. What's his legacy going to be? What are they going to write about Bill Clinton? That's what he's thinking about, and that's why he needs to go. Selfish creep. Anyway, let me get back to this article. How can we expect more of our children than one chosen to the highest office in the land? How can we feign to value integrity and yet provide compartments where it just does not matter? Yes, I am bound by the law to forgive, quote, as we would be forgiven, unquote. I can gladly forgive the man who speaks in sincere confession, shows real repentance, and demonstrates the willingness to provide real restitution for the harm that has been done. For I learned the cost of lying by paying the penalty. I learned to confess, repent, and seek forgiveness in humility because that is the only place where it may be found. There are consequences to lies and rewards for truth. Our God says so. To ignore the lie does the liar no good, for they never learn. Some may choose to ignore this and hope it goes away, but in a crisis or time of need, why should anyone trust one who has been so willing to lie for so long and seems willing to offer only a limited apology while avoiding the ramifications of his broad deceit? No, it is not the sex, as tawdry as the details may be. It is deceit that must be dealt with if we claim that it does not matter, that there is a justifiable level of deceit, that the truth can be set aside as long as our economy is good. What shall we expect from our children? And what shall we expect from ourselves? We always see the fruit of what we sow. Shall we choose to sow seeds of truth, as difficult as that may sometimes be, or settle for weeds of deceit? Then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. Yeah, we're interested in the sex. We want to find out what's going on. We look at it as a soap opera. Would you have sex with Monica Lewinski? Sure. Titillating topic of passing interest, pablum, time filler. All this needed to be done. All this needs to be done. It says right here, and don't just take one man's, one pastor's take on it. Consider it. I want you to seriously consider what we're doing in this country. Look at where we're going. Remember the Roman Empire? Now it's okay, as long as the economy is going along well, to lie, to be a scoundrel in office. The President of the United States, the most powerful man in the world, unzipping his fly and receiving fellatio in the Oral Office. This is not a joke. I'm not here to fill time. This upsets me, and it should upset you too. What are the consequences of lying? That's what we need to know. How important is it to tell the truth? How important is it that the President of the United States not lie? Bob in Ravenna, you're on the air.
How you doing, Gilly?
All right, Bob.
I haven't talked to you since they got rid of the big crab.
Oh, yeah, over there at Hooters.
Yeah, I live in Youngstown. We'd like to have that crab. That'd be nice.
Well, they moved the crab downtown.
Okay. Couple quick things. On the president, yes, I'm a conservative. The guy should be impeached. I voted for him twice. I have no problem with his politics, but what he done, no, the guy's got to go. There's
been scandal in the Clinton administration since day one.
No, I understand that, and no, the guy's got to go. And if I were on the panel, I'd say, yeah, impeach him. He doesn't want to go willingly. But the only thing on this thing tomorrow, when they're going to do all the videos, the thing is going to go according to age lines. What I'm trying to say is, I'm over 50. A lot of us people over 50, we've been around the world. We've been around the block. We've been married, divorced, whatever. The thing is going to go according to more younger people are going to go for all the gory details and thrills. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yes, I know what you're saying.
And being over 50, I'm saying, yes, get rid of the man, impeach him. But I'm not really going to jump up out of bed at 9 o'clock with a cup of coffee and just wait for all the gory details.
Well, I think the details are important as long as you look at it and you say, wait a minute, it's more than just the details. It's the lying. We're losing track here. I want to keep everyone focused. Focus on the lying. Lying.
I agree with that. And like I said, if I was on a panel, yes, I would vote to impeach the man. But I still think it's going to go as far as older people, yes, get rid of them. But I don't think we really, I'm not going to bother with the gory details. The only guy who's really going to get all upset and wound with the details is the big buffalo from 12 to 3, Limbaugh. He's going to love this.
All right. Well, thanks, Bob.
Okay.
Yeah. This is not the Rush Limbaugh program. This is my program. I want to focus this evening, as we discuss President Clinton, on the very reason why this is not a joke. This is about lying. Consider that. Stay tuned for Cliff Bakley and coverage of what in the world is happening.
WTAM 1100.
The home of Cleveland Indians baseball. This is the big one. Now Continuous coverage on News Radio WTAM 1100, Cleveland.
The most powerful hurricane is bearing down on Puerto Rico's 4 million people. Good evening, I'm Cliff Bakley, and this is the 9:30 report on News Radio WTAM 1100. Details coming up. The Weather Watch 3 forecast, here's Eileen McShay.
The pleasant summer-like weather is moving out as showers and thunderstorms move in overnight. Low temperatures in the 60s.
Currently 78 degrees at your official weather station, News Radio WTAM 1100. A cluster of thunderstorms is skirting along the lakeshore and should reach Geneva on the lake around 10:15, producing brief gusty winds, lightning, and heavy downpours. The center of Hurricane George is expected to pass over the small eastern Caribbean islands tonight and then bear down on Puerto Rico. ABC's NJ Burkett is in San Juan.
The San Juan airport has been jammed all day. Every flight is booked solid. There are literally hundreds of people on standby lists, and guests who have not been able to get off the island have been sent scrambling to find rooms in the few hotels that are still open.
Clinton ally Democrat Senator John Kerry says the president should volunteer to testify before Congress and thus spare the country further embarrassment. The advice comes a day before the release of the grand jury videotape in the Lewinsky case. Monday morning at 9, listen for live, in-depth team coverage of President Clinton's grand jury testimony on News Radio WTAM 1100. Bob Taft has a 9-point lead over Lee Fisher in the latest Plain Dealer poll in the race for governor. But the survey shows 1 in 5 Ohioans has yet to decide who will get their vote. The Duchess of York is on her way to Argentina, where her mother died in a car crash Saturday night. The former Sarah Ferguson heard the news early Sunday while on vacation in Italy. Muriel Humphrey Brown, the wife of the late Vice President Hubert Humphrey and herself a former U.S. Senator, is dead at age 86. The Indians closed out the regular home season with a 5-3 win over Kansas City, and one of baseball's most incredible records could end tonight. Cal Ripken is not playing after appearing in 2,632 games. I'm Cliff Bakley on Cleveland's only news radio, WTAM 1100.
Continuing coverage coming up at the top of the hour. Bulletins at once. News Radio WTAM 1100.
Rick Gilmore on News Radio WTAM 1100.
Yeah, will you be listening tomorrow morning? Will you be listening to our in-depth team coverage of President Clinton's testimony? Tomorrow morning at 9, all 4 hours of it, Dr. Laura will take the day off, I guess, and be back on Tuesday. All you Dr. Laura fans, don't fret. She will be back. You know, these are, and of course, the testimony will be edited for privacy reasons, security reasons, and because of the graphic nature of some of the content. The sex is amusing. The instant book following Princess Diana's death was a bestseller, but it pales in comparison to the hot new book flying off British bookshelves. It's the Kenneth Starr report on President Clinton and Monica Lewinski. One publisher says demand has been incredible. People are gladly paying about $8 for a copy of the report, which is the same as the one that can be found for free on the internet. Of the 100,000 copies printed so far, 95% were quickly sold to bookstores, but industry experts figure sales will drop quickly after the initial surge of interest evaporates. Well, sure, what do they care over there? Coverage plans of television networks for tomorrow's scheduled release of President Clinton's taped testimony are ABC. Upon release of the tapes, Clinton's taped opening statement with analysis, additional excerpts throughout the day, 1-hour edition of World News Tonight at 6:30. Wow, I guess you'll miss Wheel of Fortune. 1-hour edition of Nightline following late local news, 35 minutes after the end of the Monday Night Football game. CBS, 9 a.m., report with taped testimony. On and on and on. CNN. NBC airs excerpts in a special report. The time has not been named yet. This all falls back on the basic precepts that we were taught as children. Do you understand how the tawdry details don't matter? I want them to be released, quite frankly. Why not? I'm no nebbish. I'm not afraid of the details. The problem here is let's not forget what's going on. Let's just sit back. Let's look at this in a sober light. Have we gone insane? Are we nuts? Can you believe that a large portion of the American people feel that since President Clinton's doing a good job, the very idea that he lied right to our faces, to all of us? To every single one of us, that he lied to us when he said this?
I'm going to say this again. I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky. I never told anybody to lie, not a single time.
Weren't you taught as a child not to lie? Weren't you taught as a child not to steal? Aren't the laws of this country, whether you want to hear it or not, based on the Bible or based on religion? All the religions around the world have one of the same basic concepts as in every religion. Do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. The golden rule. Have we lost track of all of this in the media frenzy and the graphic details of the sex? The basic problem here is, are we really going to sit back and say it's okay if the president lied to us and we'll forgive him, even though he really doesn't seem like he much cared or meant it when he said he was sorry? He was more upset. Don't you teach your children, or weren't you taught as a child, if you take your chair away from the table, you push it in when you're done? Little Bobby or little Susie, when you turn a light on and you leave the room, turn the light out. And you don't lie, and you don't cheat, and you don't steal. So why is it that we should go through our lives, you know us, me and you, big nobodies, we're nothing, we're not the president. Do you understand what this says about us as a society? All joking aside, do you realize what this says about us when we say it's okay if the president lied? That's all right. To hell with the discussion about what do I tell my child when he asks or she asks what oral sex is. You can get around that and without lying. What if your child says, Mommy, Daddy, is it okay to lie? They're not going to ask you that because you know why? They already know. You already taught them that. Didn't anybody teach Bill Clinton that? Isn't that reason enough? Without any politics involved in it? Can't you just tell me from your gut? Isn't that reason enough that he should go? Can't we, of all the politicians that we have, find one to be our leader that could, if nothing else, at least be honest? Did Harry Truman lie to us? Not to my knowledge. Maybe he fibbed here or there. Did he have an affair? I don't know. We find out years later FDR had an affair. Well, nobody asked him point blank, are you having an affair, and stuck a microphone in his face. It's not the press's fault that we're able to now ask the president straight out, did you or didn't you? Isn't it just a basic moral precept? You don't lie. Public support may be growing for President Clinton's resignation or impeachment. I'll go to the lines when all the lines are lit, okay? Otherwise, I'll sit here and talk to myself. In the latest Newsweek poll, 46% say Clinton should consider quitting. That's up 7 points from a week ago. We can't even get it over 50%? We can't get it over 50%? Can't you blind Clinton supporters get it through your head? I'm not a Republican. I'm a registered Democrat. The guy has to go. It's that simple. You were taught this in Sunday school. 41% say Congress should begin impeachment proceedings. That's up 6 points. We can't get it over 50%? How can you sit and look at yourself in the mirror and say, I'm going to teach my children what's right and what's wrong, but we're going to leave a man in office that will lie to us and then come before us and lie again when he says he's sorry? You should be indignant. You should be upset. You should be PO'd. This should make you mad. This is not an issue of politics. It's an issue of principle. Nearly two-thirds support censure, up from a week ago. What the hell is censure? What, does Congress say, no, don't do that again? The president's job approval rating is 58%. Just over half disapprove of Congress releasing the videotape of Clinton's grand jury testimony. So we've got over 50% of the people who say no. 50% of you say no, they should not release the videotape of President Clinton's grand jury testimony. Two other surveys for Fox and Time Magazine and CNN find people oppose releasing the video by 2-1. Why? In addition, the Fox poll says only 38% approve of the way Congress is handling the Clinton investigation. Why do you have time to waste being angry at Congress? Why do you have time to waste being angry at Ken Starr? Why are you wasting your time and your energy on anything else? Why should I sit here and waste my time or my energy or these airwaves or your ears with anything else other than the reason why he has to quit? And if he will not quit, we should impeach him. It's so simple. Cut through all the baloney. Cut through all the crap. He lied to us, looked us in the eye, and lied to us. That's not okay, and I won't stand for it. That's not okay. If you cannot get through, try 578-1111 on the 216 area code. We have a problem with line 3, so we may have a problem there. If you cannot get through, try one of those lines. I'm going to the phones. John on a car phone, you're on the air.
Rick, I agree with you 100%. The guy is so selfish. If he resigned, do you think the country would fall apart if Al Gore was president?
Isn't it so simple that all we want is a guy that won't lie to us?
Yeah, I mean, the country's not going to fall apart if Gore's the president. He's so selfish, he just wants to be president no matter what.
Yep, President Clinton is not going to leave because he was worried about his legacy. Well, guess what? His legacy's already shot.
That's for sure.
All we want, I can't believe that can't be too much to ask for someone to represent us and be able to look us, the American people, in the eye, and we can look back and say, that man is telling us the truth. We ask so little from our daily lives. Is the truth too much to ask?
No, I'm with you 100%. And if there's no penalty for perjury, why should anyone tell the truth?
That's right.
Just lie all the time. We'll never find out what justice, our whole system of justice is down the tube.
Absolutely. Thanks, John.
You're welcome.
Yeah. It's just like when you were in school. They make an example of one child. Think about this. Boil it all down. Take away all the fluff, all the baloney, all the crap around the outside. Take yourself however old you are. Are you 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80? Sit there and think about this. Just really think about this. Did you go to Sunday school? If you didn't your parents teach you? As far back as you can remember, what's the first thing your mommy or your daddy taught you? Or both of them taught you? One of the first things is you do not lie. And what happened if you lied? You got grounded, or you got no TV, or you got paddled or spanked or put in your room. You got punished. Now we're saying it's okay for the leader of the free world to lie to all of us and get no punishment whatsoever. Isn't that sick? Isn't that odd? John, you're on the air. Hey, John.
Yes, sir.
Go right ahead. Don't listen to your radio.
Okay.
Turn your radio off.
Yes, sir.
Go right ahead. Go right ahead.
How are you?
Pardon?
How are you tonight?
I'm fine.
Hey, you got me up here. I'm fired up right now. I can't believe it. I can hardly talk. But I'll tell you what. This guy is a complete scumbag, okay?
Yeah.
And the bottom line is, he's lied to us so much, his lies are almost the truth.
It's the little boy that cried wolf.
Oh, how many times over?
We don't know what to believe now.
Exactly. I mean, the bottom line is, we shouldn't have hired this piece of trash that's an attorney from Arkansas in the first place. I mean, that's where we made our first mistake. Let's be quite honest here.
John, let me ask you a question.
Please do.
How old were you when you learned it was a bad thing to lie? You probably can't even remember.
Yeah, I do. I'll give you a quick anecdote.
All right.
I was about 3 years old, and my family had just moved back from Chicago, and I clogged my grandparents' toilet with Dixie cups.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And my father woke me up out of his sleep and said to me, John, did you clog the toilet? And you know what I said to him? I said, no, my doll Dapper Dan did it. Okay? Needless to say, I got a beating that I still remember 27 years ago. But the bottom line is, all I had to do was tell the truth, and I would be relieved of any doings on my father's part. And that was a valuable lesson I learned 27 years ago.
Absolutely.
But the bottom line is, number one, I don't know where they're taking these polls, okay?
Not from me.
Number two, this proves one thing to me. Our country has no morals.
We're in trouble.
Oh, in big trouble.
Yep. John, you're breaking up. I got to let you go, but I appreciate the call. We're in big trouble if we say this is okay. Think about it. Tell me. Call and tell me. How old were you when you learned it was okay to tell the truth and it was bad to lie? Then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free.
WTAM 1100.
Hey, pals and gals, guess what? I've got a website now. Yeah, check it out. Don't like to call? You can play around on the computer. You can talk to other Gilly Show listeners. Sounds like a lot of fun, doesn't it? A chat room and everything. Just go to www.cfsmedia.com/Gilly Show. All one word. Just do that and enjoy. Should be a lot of fun, huh? Check it out.
It's what you want.
You're listening to a sample of Cleveland's brand new FM radio station.
Cleveland's brand new Mix 1065.
Mix means
variety.
The greatest hits of the 80s, 90s, and 70s.
What you want.
It's radio for the rest of us.
Mix 1065.
Mix 1065.
Live from WTAM 1100 Cleveland, Rick Gilmour.
Yep, that's me in for a full 3 hours. If you have some difficulty trying to get through, wait until I hang up on someone. Don't fight over yourselves trying to get through on the phone lines.
I want some space, goddammit. Back.
No, guys, get away from the gate.
I'm telling you, get back now.
The Weather Watch 3 forecast from Eileen McShay tonight. Showers, T-storms possible, low 60s. Tomorrow, the same kind of weather, but low 70s. Currently 78 degrees in Cleveland. Let's look ahead, shall we? Sure. So, same thing. More rain, thunderstorms, low 60s tomorrow night. I like the low 60s at night and wear my short pants. Anyway, 78 degrees out there. Enjoy it while you can. Yeah, the questions of, would you do her? Should he have done her? And the sexing? And yeah, well, it happened. It's done. Will it happen again? I don't know. President Clinton came on TV tomorrow night and said, guess what? I promise you, I swear to you, on a stack of Bibles, it'll never happen again. I wouldn't believe him. I wouldn't believe him. It's over. It's done. He's proven himself a liar. The simplest thing in the world. Tell me, how old were you when you were taught you are not to lie? So damned simple. John on a car phone, you're on the air. Hey, John. Johnny, yeah, you're on the air.
Okay. Oh, John?
Yeah, you. No, I'm Rick. You're John.
Oh, I thought you're just... how you doing? I can hardly hear you, but I'll say my piece anyways.
Oh, I can hear you just fine.
Okay, registered Democrat myself, too.
Okay.
3 kids.
Huh?
A couple of teenagers. And the whole time when Wiley and Jones and all the other women that were stepping to the plate saying that he either made a move on them or had a relationship, I kept, basically my Democratic way saying, no way, this couldn't happen. It's a Republican, and they just want him out of the office. And then when he gets on TV and he looks at me and he says, I did not have sexual relations, I'm there right with him. And he totally embarrassed me. After he comes back then and makes a comment that, well, I lied, I let the whole country down. Can you hear me okay?
Oh, yeah.
I've got one comparison here, and this will really put it all together, I think. There was a guy named Roberto Alomar who, being a professional baseball player, is supposed to be a role model for kids and everybody else that loves the game, right?
Right.
He made bad judgment one time, lost his temper, nothing planned or anything like that, and spit in an umpire's face.
Absolutely.
He goes around the country, and every stadium that he traveled in, he was booed relentlessly for a month. Came to Cleveland and was horribly booed, wouldn't accept it. He apologized over and over again, and everybody said, that's not acceptable. You're a role model. Kids look up to you. We look up to you, and look what you did. Now we have the guy in the highest office whatsoever in a planned, hidden, cheat on your wife, lie to your daughter.
Lie to your country.
Lie to your country, and now I know he's lying probably about Wiley and Jones and everybody else he was doing. I just can't understand that we put a baseball players and the way he's got to act in front of our children. What do I tell my 3 kids now? Oh, well, not only did he lie, I'm trying to show my teenage sons right now that when they make a kind of a crude comment about some girl, they say, hey, you don't talk like that. You respect women. There's a certain way you treat them.
Right.
And the president of our country is doing things with cigars that I haven't even thought of. So it's just unbelievable. I'm a Democrat, but, I've been slapped in the face so many times. I'm not jumping parties, but he absolutely has to be out here. And here's the scariest thing. We've got a guy that basically is fooling around with a 22-year-old intern, and that's a judgment. He thought about it. He could have not done it or done it, but he decided to do it. That also has the same judgment on whether we want to drop a nuclear bomb, declare war, and give money to communist countries for them to develop nuclear weapons too. I give up, Rick. I can't take it anymore.
Yeah,
I agree with you 100%.
Thanks, John. Yeah, think about that. That should really bother you because I've had calls here. I've entertained phone calls. People have said, well, the president's not a role model, but Roberto Alomar is. Somebody called and said, well, Sean Kemp allegedly has 7 illegitimate children. Who gives a damn? Sports is just entertainment, right? No, they're held up to a level where, hey, what he did was wrong, and he's a role model for our children. Think about how sick and sad and weird and twisted things have gotten when we've gone from the president being a role model. Who wasn't what little kid doesn't say, when I grow up, I want to be president, or I want to be an astronaut? Aren't astronauts role models? Or I want to be a big league baseball player. Aren't they role models? Then why isn't the president a role model? If all you had to do as president would be to keep your private parts in your pants for the amount of time that you were in office, and look us square in the eye, because you're no better than we are. Look us right in the face and not lie to us, that'd be good enough. That would be damned fine by me. If you're on the phone lines, please be patient. Here for a full 3 hours. Don't go nowhere. If you hang up, you may not be able to get through. Stay tuned for Cliff Bakley and team coverage of what in the world is happening.
WTAM 1100.
Yeah. Here we are in the second wild and woolly hour. Talking about Bill Clinton. Yep. Dr. Laura will be back on Tuesday. All you Dr. Laura fans, do not despair. From 9 until 1 in the afternoon tomorrow will be wall-to-wall President Clinton testimony. And I spent the first hour bemoaning the fact that, of course, I'm interested in finding out all the details of what went on because, well, why do you think pornography sells so well on the web, on the net, whatever the term is, on the computers? I'm not computer lingo friendly. I have a webpage, www.cfsmedia.com/Gilly Show. You can go there and chit-chat with other listeners, but I don't know all the terminology. It all boils down to, besides the sex, it doesn't matter. Yeah, I want to know just because I'm a guy. It all boils down to what you were taught as a kid, that you don't lie.
I want you to listen to me. I'm going to say this again.
Yeah, he's going to say it again, and I'm going to see if I get my BS mirror set up.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman. Miss Lewinsky, I never told anybody to lie, not a single time.
My meter went off. You're full of it, Bill.
I love you, Gilly.
Aw, the congregation at Foundry United Methodist Church in Washington had some familiar visitors today. President Clinton and the First Lady made their first appearance since before Clinton's grand jury testimony. The president's scheduled to spend the next few days in New York. What did he go there for, a photo op? The heck does church mean to him? Really? You're not supposed to lie. Bill lied. It's that simple. Call it what you want. Perjury. He looked right at us. Didn't perjure himself in front of us. We're not a grand jury. No, we're just the people of the country that Bill represents. And the morals and values that can go down the toilet. Because I was taught it was bad to lie. And I don't lie. Somebody asks me a question, I'll tell them the brutal, honest truth. And it ticks people off sometimes. I've had people ask me, gee, did I do something to annoy you last night? And I'll say, yeah, you were pretty damned irritating. What do you mean? Well, you were just irritating. I don't know, I was in a bad mood and you were getting on my nerves. And they take it personally. And I'm thinking to myself, well, I'm sorry, would they feel better if I lied? No, I wouldn't feel better about myself if I lied. I'll take my chances on what happens, because if you tell the truth, you never have to remember what you said. It's right there. Just that simple. I'm going back to the phones. Phone number here, 578-1100 in the 216 area code. Toll free, 888-723-WTAM. And, of course, I've opened up 578-1111. That is also in the 216 area code. Wait until someone hangs up and then jump in. It's going to be tough to get through again, as usual, tonight. Let's go right back to the phones. Dave in Parma, you're next. Hi, Dave.
Hey.
How you doing?
Rick, how you doing?
All right, thanks for the wait.
Thanks for taking my call.
You're welcome.
Okay, well, it's just that I've constantly reminded people at where I work. It's not the fact that he had an affair. That's, their problem. It's not the fact that he lied to the American people about it. It's the fact that he lied to a grand jury, which is perjury, which is a felony, which is, according to the Constitution, high crime.
Yep.
He should be impeached.
Actually, he should have the testicular fortitude to just go away on his own.
Well,
he should be able to admit that what he did was a big lie. Even the perjury aside, look at just lying to the American people. How could you do that? What kind of a personality does it take to go back on the television and go around the country and stand in front of crowds of people and look them in the eye and talk to them as if nothing happened?
Well, Rick, that's the kind of personality he has. He shows he has no character, because he did that.
Let me ask you this.
A person with character would not do that. A person with character, if they did do that, would resign to save the country the embarrassment.
Dave, let me ask you a question. Next president we have, Republican or Democrat, doesn't matter. Wouldn't you just be happy if they would never lie to us?
Well, that was tried once. I think Adelaide Stevenson tried it in the 50s, and look how far he got.
Yeah, just like Walter Mondale saying, if I'm elected president, I'm going to have to raise taxes.
Yeah, see, he told the truth. The public doesn't want the truth in their politicians. They want to lie to us.
Well, I don't want them to lie to me.
Well,
I'd prefer the truth. I don't know if I'd vote for Walter Mondale, but I'd still prefer the truth. At least I'd say, well, the guy was an honest guy. He didn't make it, but he was an honest guy.
Yeah.
I never thought anybody ever said that Harry Truman was lying or Honest Abe. Whatever happened to all that? What happened to just plain being honest and talking to people like we are? Because guess what? He's one of us.
Well, whatever happened to having the Ten Commandments posted in the schools?
Well, the separation of church and state and all that. Although the very fact is that our Constitution is based on biblical law.
Yes. So that's where the lying comes.
No, and I appreciate the call, Dave. I think the problem is maybe we do need a little more churching up. Now, I'm not a big fancier of organized religion. I don't like things stuffed down my throat. But I think it's not a bad idea, maybe, to consider the fact that maybe your kids should go to Sunday school if they don't, or should read the Bible if they don't. They're at least, if nothing else, taught right from wrong by you, correct? So it's not okay for your kids to lie to you, but it's okay for your president to lie to you. Rod in Lakewood, you're next.
Hello, Rick.
Hi, Rod.
To say I disagree with you would be mild.
Why is that?
Well, a couple of things. First of all, on the issue of affairs, since they actually did something, a history of the presidency, in this century, with the exception of Coolidge, Carter, and Truman, they've all had affairs, and several in the White House. Well, do you consider Linda Tripp to be a good source?
I'm saying, let's back up now. No.
Would you let me finish?
No, this is my program. I ask you a question.
Okay.
Back up. What about the presidents now?
In this century, with the exception of Coolidge, Truman, and Carter, all of them had affairs at one time in their life, and a number of them while they were in the White House.
Did anybody ask them that under oath?
No. Well, actually, probably yes, at least in the case of Harding, but Harding.
Okay, so the other ones, no one asked them under oath, were they lying, did they have an affair, yes or no? So I don't care less about that. We're talking about this president now.
Okay, but lies. Okay, let's get into that. Ann Coulter, who's an ultra-conservative person on MSNBC, was asked by somebody, I can't remember who it was, to go back and research and find one person who'd been imprisoned for lying involving a divorce proceeding involving an affair. And in the last 50 years, she couldn't find one person. So what you're saying is the president should have less protection than everybody else.
No, I don't know. You're muddling something here, or I'm missing it. I'm saying the president that we have right now lied, and we know it.
So?
And yet So? Do you have any kids?
No, actually I don't.
Well, thank God for that, huh?
WTAM 1100.
The Rick Gilmore Show on News Radio WTAM 1100.
So let me get this straight. Sometimes it's okay to lie, and sometimes it's not. It's okay for the president to lie because other presidents have lied. We should lower our standards and throw things out the window and say, okay, what do you expect? He's just a politician. Is it too much to ask? How many people do we have in this country? 250 million plus. I don't even know what the figures are. Like 280 million? We can't find one honest man. Can you think of one honest man, one honest woman that you'd trust as our leader? That you'd at least know, if nothing else, when they talk to us on the television or when you'd go see them at Baldwin Wallace or someplace when they're traveling around? You go to one of these town hall meetings that President Clinton's been holding around the country, and you look at him and you'd think, you know what I'd do if I had access to the president? I'd ask him, I'd raise my hand. Hi, Rick Gilmore from WTAM 1100. Do you have gas? He'd say, pardon me? I'd say, President Clinton, do you have gas? He'd say, well, no. I'd say, well, you ought to because you're full of beans. I don't believe a word you say. Is it too much to ask for a little honesty? Not even out of your councilman. We're talking about the president. Weather Watch 3 forecast from Eileen McShay. Tonight, this forecast goes on and on for days. It's going to be showers and thunderstorms, low 60s. Tomorrow, same thing, but low 70s. Monday night, same thing, low 60s. Currently 77 degrees, so we have a lot of rain in our future. All right, so break out the bumper chute. Let's go back to the phones. Mike in Berwick, PA, you're on the air. Hey, Mike.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing fine.
You should have called on the toll-free.
Oh, well, I only got your regular line over the radio. I didn't hear the toll-free.
Oh, it's 888-723-WTAM.
I'll have to remember that.
Yeah, call in the future. That way we pick up the dime.
Okay.
Go right ahead. What's on your mind?
Well, first of all, I have to say that I agree with you totally. I mean, you're saying it very clearly what I think a lot of people believe. I certainly believe it myself. But one point that I wanted to make is here we are busy talking about Monica Lewinski as if it's the only scandal out there. And I think if you were to observe what Bill Clinton has done for the last 7 or 8 months, when faced with the Monica Lewinsky scandal, what has he done? He's lied. He's covered up. He's deceived. He's tried to destroy people and who got in his way, who tried to uncover the truth. And I think if that's the way he operates with the Monica Lewinsky situation, you got to figure that's the exact thing that he's doing with things like Travelgate, Filegate, and the Craig Livingstone situation, campaign contributions from China, Whitewater, Webb Hubble hush money, the way the attacks on Henry Hyde and
I've had folks say, gee, just let him finish out his term.
Oh, baloney.
Yeah, that means lie to us for another couple of years.
Well, I think the point of the matter is what he wants to do is he wants to get away, like you said before, is he wants to get off the hook without really apologizing and without any consequences. And you or I or anybody else have to face consequences when we do things like that, especially the President of the United States.
That's right. I'm a lowly talk show host.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm better than anybody else because I run my mouth for a living. That's just what I happen to do best. I talk for a living. Some nights I talk more quickly or better or more clearly than others, but I never come on here ever and sit here and lie. If somebody asked me a question I didn't want to answer, I'd say, I'm sorry, I don't want to answer that.
That's right. And, the thing that really disgusts me about him is the way he pretends he's apologized. And he pretends, that he's asked for forgiveness, when in reality he hasn't apologized. He hasn't asked for forgiveness. He hasn't even admitted doing wrong. And that's what's so sad about it.
And he tells his friends that possibly Ken Starr being after him for all this time was what pushed him into the comfort of an affair with Monica Lewinski.
Well, the thing of it is if we can see the way he's delayed this thing for the past 7 months, you got to figure he's been delaying everything for the last 4 years since Ken Starr's been around. Ken Starr could have wrapped this up a long time ago if he had somebody that was a little bit more cooperative.
Yep, absolute insanity.
Well, I enjoyed your comments, and you have a very interesting program. I hope I can pick it up again.
All right, thanks, Mike.
You're welcome.
All right, bye-bye. Let's go to Tom in Akron. You're on the air. Tom.
Yeah, hi, Rick.
Hi, how you doing?
Good. First-time caller.
Well, welcome.
Let me turn down my radio.
Yeah, turn it off. I don't have a bell or anything to ring for you for being a first-time caller. But...
No, that's all right. I feel special anyway.
Aw.
I have a different take on it. I think we've got to put this into perspective. I heard an earlier caller mention other presidents lying to us. And we've been lied to by so many politicians, it's ridiculous, and I'm not condoning that.
All right,
But I think that one reason why you're seeing such high poll numbers for him is a majority of the American people have lied in the same situation he is, which is involving sex. And that's what it is. He's not lying to us about Iran-Contra, about drugs being sold and so forth or brought into this country to support something else. He's lying about sex. I don't condone that, but the fact is that's all it is. I don't think that's something that we should impeach or he should leave office for. Public humiliation is a great consequence. I mean, what he's going through and what his family's going through right now, which is his fault, of course.
Of course.
But, I mean, that is a great consequence. To say he's suffering no consequences is not true at all.
Well, just the idea that the man who's held up as an example for our children is lying and being able to keep his job kind of turns my stomach. Can't we find one honest politician that we can say, there, we found one?
Well, we had one in 1976 to 1980, and we ran him out of office.
Yep, Jimmy Carter.
Yeah, he was a very honest man, very straightforward.
He lost it in his heart.
Mm-hmm. And he was honest about it. And he lost it. The country wasn't being run the way the majority of the people wanted it, so he lost. Fact is, the way the country is being run right now, the way a majority of the people want, so that's why his numbers are so high. They're willing to forgive the lie about sex. Now, if it was a lie about and it is consensual sex. If it was a lie about rape, then I could see run him out of office. But it is consensual sex. Also, the other presidents that did do the affairs, and we didn't know about it, there's such a thing as dishonesty by omission. These leaders were putting forth a great moral image to us, but in the background, they were doing the same things he is.
Well, then maybe it was better that we didn't find out.
That's where to some extent, this is where I blame the press, because the press was dishonest to us at those times, too, because they knew about the presidential affairs then and didn't bring them to us. I had heard that Kennedy had made a statement to some of the press, hey, by the time this all gets out, I'll be dead, so I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, I remember watching an episode of The Waltons when I was a kid, and someone was bad-mouthing FDR, and Grandma Walton said, don't you dare say anything bad about the President of the United States.
Mm-hmm.
Times have changed.
Times have changed a lot. Now, like I said, I don't condone what he did. I don't condone dishonesty, but I just don't think that if the country is running the way the majority of the people want with the economy. Now, if we had a major mishap like Carter did, where we had soldiers die in a rescue mission, or we had people held hostage for a long period of time, and the economy was bad, I think this president would be gone very quick.
All right, thanks.
Things are going good.
Well, thanks, Tom.
All right.
Yeah. Is that what we have to hope for? Do we have to hope for things to go down the toilet? That the country's not operating properly, and then we can say, okay, well, now we won't forgive any lies. This is just insanity. Sit back and consider what we're saying. Sit back and think about, if you're listening and you're not calling, if you are calling, please be patient, we'll get to you. Sit back and think about this. It's okay if he lies as long as the country's running along just fine. No, I don't think it's ever okay. It's not okay. Okay? It's never okay. Can't we find one honest person? Stay tuned for Cliff Bakley and coverage of what in the world is happening.
WTAM 1100.
The home of Cleveland Indians baseball. This is the big one. Now, continuous coverage on News Radio WTAM 1100, Cleveland.
Why do you think the Clinton videotape is being released? Good evening, I'm Cliff Bakley, and this is the 1030 report on News Radio WTAM 1100. Details coming up. The Weather Watch 3 forecast, here's Eileen McShay.
Look for showers and thunderstorms to replace the weekend sunshine. Low temperatures in the lower 60s.
Currently 76 degrees at your official weather station, News Radio WTAM 1100. Is the House Judiciary Committee out to embarrass President Clinton? A new poll indicates that's what a majority of Americans think. The CBS News poll indicates nearly 60% think that's why the committee voted to release Clinton's videotaped grand jury testimony tomorrow. And tomorrow morning at 9, listen for live, in-depth team coverage of the grand jury testimony on News Radio WTAM 1100. Many of the easternmost islands of the Caribbean are seeking shelter from the threat of Hurricane George. It's now a Category 3 storm with winds of 125 miles an hour, expected to hit Antigua later this evening. The storm was last reported about 85 miles from the island. Akron police had to use tear gas early this morning to break up a crowd near the University of Akron.
The students would disperse immediately when the gas was thrown, but they'd reform later and start the same thing at another location. So this went on for about 3 hours until they finally had enough and went home.
Police Lieutenant John Jerkovic says 2 arrests were made in the rock and bottle throwing melee. A small twin-engine plane crashed today in northern Los Angeles County, killing both people aboard. Tokyo stock prices fell sharply in early trading Monday, the first session since Japan's ruling and opposition parties reached a compromise on crucial bank reform bills late last week. Giving a whole new meaning to the term Battle of the Bands, a fight broke out yesterday among marching bands during a college football halftime show in Texas. Some members of the Southern University and Prairie View A&M bands even hit each other with the instruments. 3 were injured. They're saying Happy New Year in Jerusalem. Israelis and Jews worldwide are marking the year 5,759 on the Jewish calendar amid festivities and lots of food. Cal Ripken is sitting out the last home game of the season as Baltimore plays the Yankees. It brings to an end his streak of 2,632 games played in a row. The Indians closed out their home season today with a 5-3 win over Kansas City. I'm Cliff Bakley on Cleveland's only news radio, WTAM 1100.
Continuing coverage coming up at the top of the hour. Bulletins at once. News Radio, WTAM 1100.
No. That's what I'm afraid of. Some Utah scouts are balking at having President Clinton sign their Eagle Scout certificates. Scouting officials say at least 7 Boy Scouts in the state of Utah have asked that the president's signature be removed from the certificates that go with the Eagle badge. The rank of Eagle Scout is the highest a scout can reach. One of the Utah boys applying for the rank said having the presidential signature on the certificate should be a thing of high honor. A scout spokeswoman has referred all the complaints to the group's national headquarters in Irving, Texas. I don't blame them. Why in the world would they want his signature on there? President Clinton is still a figurehead, but no longer a role model. And it's not okay to lie, but apparently some of you feel it is. I'm telling you it's not okay to lie. Scandals aplenty in the Clinton administration. I have in front of me, at some point I may get to it in the broadcast, the list of how many people have died surrounding President Clinton. This was on the internet. This is not something that was pulled off of the AP Wire or something like that. I will preface by saying it was off the internet. So you have to take some things with a grain of salt, and other things do have credence. It's a long list. But I want to go back to the phones. I have all these lines jammed up. I have one line open at 578. Two lines open at 578-1111. Wouldn't want to lie to you, would I? Let's go to Sean in Arkansas. You're on the air. Hey, Sean.
Hello.
How are you?
I'll be very good. A little bit stormy in between here in Cleveland, but we can pick you up in Arkansas all right.
Where are you in Arkansas?
I'm in the northeast corner.
Oh, I mean, what's the name of the town?
Blytheville.
Blytheville?
Yeah.
Okay. Anywhere near Hope?
Are you out of your mind?
I take it you're not a Clinton supporter.
Never voted for him in the primaries, never voted for him for governor, did not vote for him when he ran for the Senate. I never voted for him for Secretary of State, and I went out and told people how stupid they were for voting for him. Because y'all people don't know how big a liar he is, because he was governor of this state for 20 years, give or take more. And another thing people are forgetting, if they're tired of Monica, you got 38 more scandals to go through, and he hasn't cleared up any of those. And he's delayed tactics and stuff to stop that. And this part about cincture,
Yeah.
The last time that happened, the president got his bill, or he got a picture on the $20 bill is what that amounted to. I don't think that's a good route to go. I'd hate to see his picture on any money.
Yeah, well, a $3 bill perhaps.
Well,
so Bill's got quite a history of being a liar. We know that.
Yes, but one thing that was brought up to me this week was Jennifer Flowers. Did he not come on 60 Minutes and say that he had an affair and he was sorry and he wouldn't do that again?
No, he did it again.
Well, he's done it again. So are we going to believe him now? We didn't believe him then, and he did it. Where is he going to go?
So what about all the information we had about the Arkansas state troopers bringing in women, and, of course, that... Why do we seem to have such a selective memory, and things just go away, and if it's not flavor of the week, it's gone, and we can't seem to sit and look and go, my God, this guy's gotten away with lies forever and ever and ever and ever. And there are people that say, well, as long as the country's running okay, we'll let him be a liar, because all politicians are liars. Can't we fix this process? Can't we break this circle of lying? What do you think can be done?
Well, the only thing I can tell you or anybody else is that you got to find out who you're voting for. Now, I know why that the problem is down here in Arkansas is because he set his original Golds 2000. That was tested on this state, and now the product of that educational system is in the Arkansas ballots.
You know?
That is a serious situation.
Have you heard of Citizens will resign by 99?
I have not.
You know, actually, there's a guy up here in North Royalton, Ohio, named Rick DeMarco, and you could also write to someone closer to you. Let me see, who would be closer to you? North Carolina? Ron Papalardo on White Oak Drive in Cary, North Carolina. You could call him or write him. You get postcards, then you can make copies of these, and they send them all to their central location in Virginia, Chantilly, Virginia, and they're going to try and collect as many as they can. I guess they've collected about 10,000 just from the result of this radio program alone. And they want President Clinton removed from office. Here's what it says on the postcard. Mr. Clinton, in 1974, political candidate Bill Clinton made the statement, if a president of the United States ever lied to the American people, he should resign. Mr. Clinton, you have lied to the American people, your family, your supporters, and encouraged members of your administration to defend your lies. As a federal employee, you have violated a number of government regulations, directives, and guidelines regarding workplace behavior, not to mention basic concepts of decency. By your action and your actions alone, you have proven yourself to be unfit to hold the office of President of the U.S. Therefore, as a taxpayer and your employer, I demand your prompt resignation so as to spare the nation further dishonor, deception, embarrassment, ridicule, and the ordeal of an impeachment process. Sincerely, and you sign your name.
Well, you got the right guy, because that's the same guy who's governor here.
Yeah, I feel for you. We've only had him for 6 years. And you had him for God knows how many.
Well, we had one worse than him, but he did get caught.
Which one was that?
Jim Guy Tucker.
Oh.
They put him in jail.
Yeah. What's up with Arkansas and Louisiana? All these states seem to have, I guess it's all over the place. It isn't just down south, is it?
It isn't just down south. I think what was wrong with Bill Clinton is that he grew up on himself, and he thought that, he should get away with all this, but... I believe Hillary's behind all this, because if you really watch Bill Clinton, you'll find out he ain't smart enough to be making those decisions. Somebody else has to be doing them for him.
I said last night, and I appreciate the call. Thanks for checking in.
You're welcome.
All right, yeah, I said last night that the problem with President Clinton is he may be very intelligent, but he doesn't have a whole lot of brain cells marked CS for common sense. He's got a whole bunch of them marked BJ, but not many stamped CS. That's the problem. Ted in Middleburg Heights, you're next.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons people are so opposed to Clinton, especially in the establishment right wing, is the fact that he has really stood up very strongly for the interests of people. Like when he opposed the Medicaid and Medicare reforms that would have devastated the elderly poor. He stood up for gay people in the military and anti-discrimination policies.
Big deal. We've had don't ask, don't tell in the military forever. If 10% of the population is gay, then 10% of the soldiers at Omaha Beach were gay.
Well, the point is the right-wing establishment being religiously oriented in a very fanatic, insane way, a psychotic way, are really opposed to these kind of policies. They want to grind people that they don't particularly like or they don't have anything in common with. They want to grind them down. And President Clinton doesn't want to do that. So they can't forgive him for that. They can't forgive him for saying that there's a legal immigrant, a lady, let's say in New York City who has Alzheimer's. They wanted to cut her disability payments. President Clinton stood up for that woman, and many women like her. And they don't like that because deep down the right wing in this country are full of psychologically disturbed people who are, quite frankly, sadists.
I'll ask you a question.
Yeah.
Do you have gas?
Excuse me?
Do you have gas?
Do I have gasoline?
No. Do you have intestinal gas?
No, I do not.
Well, that surprises me because you're full of beans, too.
WTAM 1100.
September 26, 1923.
A date which will live in infamy.
WTAM signed on the air for the very first time. For over 75 years, WTAM has been there for you. Whether it was news then,
The frame is crashing to the ground, not quite to the mooring mast of the humanity.
or news now.
The American public indeed will have access to the Ken Starr Report.
No matter what, no matter when, you can depend on us. News Radio WTAM 1100.
I'm going to say this again. I want you to listen to me. These allegations are false.
That is not true. I didn't do that. I did not do that.
Now, back to Rick Gilmore on WTAM 1100.
Yeah, right. You didn't do this. You did do that. I don't believe a damn thing you say. A majority of those surveyed by U.S. News and World Report say Hillary Rodham Clinton remains a good role model for women. They also believe she purposely ignored her husband's personal activities. The poll also says more Americans believe the Clintons have a marriage of convenience than one based on love. 13% say the marriage has held together because it was better for the country. And 10% say the marriage now is mainly for the sake of daughter Chelsea. 68% believe Mrs. Clinton looked the other way in the face of her husband's indiscretions. Only 20% say she's a knowing victim. Still, 60% say the First Lady remains a good role model for American women. A poll of 1,000 registered voters was conducted September 16th and 17th, has a margin of error plus or minus 2.3 percentage points. If Bill's that big a liar, and Hillary is still with Bill, she must know how big a liar he is. She's got a little bit of a liar herself, don't you think? Maybe she's just lying to herself. Hard to believe that all I really want, apparently what you really want is the country to run well, some of you anyway. What I really want is someone I can look at on the television and listen to on the radio and say, by golly, at least they're telling me the truth. That would make me feel good. That'd make me feel great. After this, anything would make me feel great. I'd be thrilled if Al Gore were president. And that's pretty odd. If you'd ask me that, 6 years ago, I'd say, ha, who? Yeah, him? Forget it. Now, I'd jump for joy. I don't know what joy'd think about that, but Suzanne, you're on the air. Hey, Suzanne.
Hello?
Hi, turn your radio off.
Okay, just a minute, okay?
Okay.
Hi, Rick, it's Suzanne.
Hi, Suzanne.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm fine, and you?
Oh, just dandy.
Okay. You know what? You know what my view is?
Well, what?
Okay, we elected this president, okay?
Yeah, well, I didn't. I mean, I didn't vote for him.
Well, his life, his sex life is one thing. As long as he keeps us out of war and runs the country, I think we should leave him alone.
So you don't care if he lied, committed perjury?
No, I don't think I think that's his own personal life.
Committing perjury in front of a grand jury?
Well,
that's his personal life?
That's one thing. But having sex...
Wait. Now, back up a minute. That's one thing. So you just brush it under the rug. That's okay. You don't care. It doesn't matter to you.
No, I didn't say it didn't really matter to me.
Well, you just brushed it off and moved on.
Well, I know. Well, maybe I did, but...
I mean, President Clinton, has he kept us out of war? He sent troops all over the place. We're in Bosnia.
Right, but I mean, as long as he continues to do his job that he was put in there for, I think we ought to stay out of his personal life.
Do you have any children?
Yes, I do. 3.
How old are they, Suzanne?
Adults.
Okay, did you teach them it's bad to lie?
Oh, yes.
How old were they when you taught them that?
Very young. Probably 2, 3, 4.
Any of your kids boys?
1.
And when he was a little boy, did he ever say, I want to grow up and be president, Mommy?
No.
No?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, gee, you taught them that lying's bad. It's a good thing he didn't want to be president because apparently that's part of the job description.
No, you got this wrong.
Okay, I'm wrong. Lying's okay as long as it's
lying is wrong.
Yeah, okay. So and the president lied.
Okay, yes, he might have. Okay.
Well, no, it's that we know that. We know he lied.
All right, we do know this.
Yes,
okay?
That's a fact. We know he lied.
Right.
Okay.
But he admitted it, and in my opinion, he should continue on with his duties.
No, he didn't admit that he lied. He admitted that, well, he had an inappropriate relationship with Monica Lewinski.
Okay, but
he played. Wait a minute. He played little word games and twisted things around so that it sounds like, well, yeah, well, he didn't lie. He just didn't understand the question or something. You understand what I'm saying? He lied to us, and we know it. And you're saying that's okay, and he can stay in office because.
No.
Oh, you know. No,
okay,
I guess I'm misunderstanding you then.
Okay, no, it is wrong to lie.
Yes, it is wrong to lie.
But to impeach him, I think he should continue to be president.
So then
I don't say he shouldn't be dealt with on this affair or whatever. I'm not saying that.
But do you understand that it's not the sex is not the issue? I mean, I understand here that we don't give IQ tests before people call, Suzanne.
Excuse me?
I just said I can't understand why you don't see what I'm saying, and you're saying, oh, lying's bad, and I taught my kids that lying is bad, but the president lied, and, well, let's forget about that, and let's just move on. Whether you like it or not, if Roberto Alomar is a role model, so's President Clinton. If a sports figure's a role model, so's President Clinton, whether you like it or not. And he lied, and now there's kids out there, little kids, that aren't grown up like yours. And they're trying to be taught that lying's bad, and yet the president is lying, and you think it's okay to keep him.
No, you misunderstood what I said.
You don't think
I don't think he was right in line.
But we should keep him.
As a president,
yeah.
Yes. Whatever the punishment may be, that should be the punishment.
How about impeachment?
What will be, will be.
Okay, thanks. All right, yeah, bye-bye. My brains were running out of my ears. Is it me? No, we don't. We screen the callers for their name and their location. We do not screen the callers as to their level of intelligence or lack thereof. The Weather Watch 3 forecast from Eileen McShay. Tonight, showers, thunderstorms, low 60s. Tomorrow, Monday, same thing, showers, possible thunderstorms, low 70s. Let's look ahead, shall we? Sure. Monday night, the same weather, showers, possible thunderstorms, low 60s. Currently 77 degrees in Cleveland, 77 degrees. Let's go to a voice of reason. Shall we? Sure. Let's go to AJ on a car phone. You're next. Hey, AJ.
Hey, how you doing?
All right. Did you hear that last call?
Yeah.
Was it me?
No, I have a comment about her.
I mean, am I deranged? I mean, we were cleaning the heads on the cart machines in here. Has the cleaning fluid gotten to me?
Well, no, you know what? I think she really must have voted for the president, or must really love him, because she just waffled. I mean,
just like Bill.
She waffled just like Bill. I mean, she said one thing, and then towards the end of the conversation, she kind of realized that she was getting caught, so she kind of switched the story around and kind of changed her opinion a little bit.
Maybe she's a waitress at the House of Pancakes.
Oh, I'll tell you, I don't know, but anyway, my opinion on this whole thing is that, everyone says, oh, he's just a regular guy just like me, let the man do what he wants to do in his private life. I don't want some regular guy running this country. I want some super untouchable being, some guy that's going to be untouchable. I mean, this guy goes to China, and the Prime Minister of China, says, hey, I got these, girls we can go with, and he films it all, and he bribes them, and now China's getting all of our secrets because they're bribing the president because he was with these. I mean, he's a target. He's easy. He's weak.
President Clinton, they rub you wrong time.
Well, we won't go there, but I mean, the guy's weak. I mean, he has a weakness, and it's women. Okay, so any country he goes to, there's beautiful Russian women, there's beautiful, Asian women.
Beautiful Iranian women.
Beautiful Iranian women.
Iraqi women. All you have to do is get their little veil off.
Exactly. And those people out there, I mean, the man is weak. That's all I have to say. And I want some person, I'm not going to say some guy, some man or woman who can run this country, who I can sit down, I can go to sleep at night and say, this guy can have, or gal can have anything thrown in front of them, okay, and they're not going to be tempted. They're going to stand up and say, no, I'm going to avoid that temptation. And all of a sudden he starts appealing to the Christian right. The man who's administration who wants to take God out of everything, the AFL-CIO, they want to take God out of everything. All of a sudden he's having these prayer breakfasts. Where's the AFL-CIO now? What's the matter with mixing church and state? This really has me ticked off. I mean, this guy's supposed to be some, liberal figure who's supposed to be, separating church and state. And, oh, my gosh, if you say the word God. But now all of a sudden he's with all these holy people, men of the cloth, and he's going around praying every morning and repenting his sins. I mean...
I think he considers himself rather existential. He can just reinvent himself with every new photo op and soundbite, and we'll forget all about it because we're dumb, and we're not dumb.
I'll tell you what, if these people can't see through this, I really don't know what's wrong with them. And if they think that it's a personal matter, it's not a personal matter. And when is American people, for you in your 38 states and whatever else you can hear me, when are you people going to wake up and realize that this guy's name is not Bill Clinton, it's loser. Loser. So if everybody can realize that, and let's move on and get this guy out of office and put somebody in office who's going to do the job, then, I'm fed up with it. I mean, I had a kid come into my workplace, and he was about 6 or 7 years old, and he said, Mom, is he going to lie to us like the president did? And I said, excuse me? He said to me, so my mother told me that all car salesmen are liars. And and the parents were there, their jaws were on the ground. And, kids are innocent. So, I said to the kid, no, I'll never do to you or your parents what the president did to us. I said, I don't make those kind of mistakes.
And I'll never make your mommy give me a breathalyzer before I let her go out on a test ride.
Exactly. So I don't think they'll ever tell their child that before they go in anywhere that they're going to lie to them, because children are innocent. They don't know. They tell the truth.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, the guy's a bum. I've had enough. I've talked about him for week after week after week, and it came down tonight to listen. What really bothers me is just I can never, ever look at him again and think he's telling the truth. I'll immediately think he's lying to me.
Well, remember, if I can get this across to anybody who's listening, remember, people who are listening, this man is weak. He's weak. He has a place where people can get him. He can go anywhere and people can bribe him. They can film him. They can do anything they want. They can bribe him with women, anything. He's bribable. And when he's bribable, he's putting the security and the safety of you and your children and everybody that you know and love in jeopardy.
Amen and hallelujah.
Okay.
Thanks, AJ.
Bye-bye.
Yep. When I grow up, Mommy, I want to be president. Think about it. Now stop. Randy and a car phone, you're next.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello, Rick.
Yeah, go right ahead.
Good afternoon, good evening. Randy here.
Evening, Randy.
I think that President Clinton, the next time that he has a White House type of executive party,
Yeah?
they should invite Brandy and Monica and sing the song The Boy Is Mine.
Yeah.
I think that would be interesting.
Yeah, it would be.
I've just had a couple of comments. First, there's three things. First of all, I am totally shocked at women and their acceptance of this type of behavior. Unbelievable how women can call and defend a man, for the lying stuff. It's beyond me, especially considering it's betraying a family. I can't understand it. The second thing that people have to understand is Bill Clinton, he will never take responsibility, neither will he admit to making a mistake. He only admits to that, of course, after he's been caught. but only people with honor can do the right thing and, in this case, resign. Since Bill Clinton has no honor whatsoever, he'll never resign. And thirdly, if you study anything about human behavior, you'll understand that Clinton is very much a sociopathic, manipulative individual. I don't think he has a disorder, but he has that type of personality, and it comes very, very smoothly, and it comes very easily to him, and he takes full advantage of it. And that's been very obvious to me since I've exposed the man from 6 years ago, and I watched him as he was campaigning as a Democratic in the Democratic primary, when he first ran for office.
Yeah. All I want the next time is someone who won't lie to me. That's all I'm looking for now. I've given up on anything else. All I want is an honest person. I don't care what their policies are or anything else. I'll deal with that later. I just don't want to be lied to anymore. I'm so sick of being lied to. I've had people in my life in the past couple of years lie to me about certain things that just tore me apart. And now to be lied to by the president as well. You always think you can look somewhere. And, of course, depending on where you go to church, you could turn around and there could be the president. Well, for God's sake, you'd think you could at least expect that the president, if he's going to lie all the time, stay out of church. I don't want to see him in any photo ops in church. I don't want to see him in any prayer meetings. He's a liar.
Well, the country's been infected with this thing called tolerance. And instead of calling right and wrong, and prosecuting the wrong and condemning the wrong, we're told to be tolerant for aberrant type of behaviors, for disrespect, for indignations. And even the churches now are getting to that point. So
I know.
It's unfortunate.
It is, Randy. Thanks. I got to move the program up. I agree with you 100%. Stay tuned for the third, final, and dreaded hour coming up right after Cliff Bakley and in-depth team coverage of what in the world is happening. This just is, well, it really burns me up. Honor or offer, Bill? Definitely honor. That's the best offer I had all day.
WTAM 1100.
Tom has a very sad look on his face. He's sitting on a rubber donut in the screener booth, and Dan's in here trying to learn the ropes on a crash course. All right? So if the music's a little too loud or this or that, it's not like I'm upset or something.
I love you, Gilby.
Now, let me correct that. It's not I love you, Gilby. It's I love you, Gilly.
I love you, Gilly. Thanks, Ray.
Well, it's the least I could do. Why are we talking about Clinton? Well, because you want to talk about it, and because, of course, tomorrow morning, live in-depth team coverage of President Clinton's testimony begins right here Monday morning at 9 a.m., all 4 hours of it. If you're a Dr. Laura aficionado, a listener, a devotee, Dr. Laura will be back on Tuesday. And I'll be on tomorrow night from 11 p.m. until 1 a.m. discussing the events. And, of course, when we find out exactly what is in the testimony, which, of course, has been edited for privacy, security, and due to the graphic nature of some of the details. Well, I've said earlier in the program, if you were not listening, I'll tell you what I did say. I said that, as far as I'm concerned, I want to know what happened as far as the sex, just because I'm curious. I don't think he should be thrown out of office because of the sex. It just all comes down to the lying factor. It's just, I will not be lied to. Have you had friends? And you thought, well, gee, I trust everybody. That's what I do. I trust everyone and anyone until I find out otherwise. I've had friends that if they lie to you once, well, you say, uh-oh. Now, depending on how big of a lie it is and what it's about. If a girlfriend lies to you about something big, bad, and nasty, well, then you may just say bye-bye, right? You might just say, see you later, toots. I'm moving on, more fish in the sea, because if there's no trust, there's no relationship. Well, the president lied to us. He lied to a grand jury, and he lied to us when he said there was no sex, it didn't happen, no. Well, there was sex, and it did happen. And he still won't admit that he lied because, well, he knows he'll lose his job. And he should lose his job. He should step down. We're taught as kids, is what I said. We're taught as children that you don't lie. You just don't do it. And speaking of the Green Apple Quick Step, Tom just quick stepped out of the room over there. Yeah, well, some people get the flu in different ways. I got mine, and it turned to bronchitis. He got his, and it turned to, well, I won't discuss that, will I? Let's go back to the phones. Kathy on a car phone, you're next. Hi, Kathy. Kathy?
Hello?
Hi, can you speak up and turn your radio off?
Yes.
Okay.
It's Kathy.
Yes, Kathy. Go right ahead.
Okay.
Do you have your radio off?
Yes, it's off.
What's that noise in the background? Are you at a bar or something?
No, I'm on my car phone.
Okay, so you don't have, like, some other radio station playing in the background?
It's your radio station.
Can you turn it off?
Can I turn it off? Yes, I can.
Yep, turn it off.
Turn it off? What, does it interfere with your station?
Yes, we're on a delay, ma'am. We're on a 7-second delay.
Okay.
You'll be confused. I will not. I don't care if I can hear myself in the background, but you'll be listening for your responses on the radio, and it'll be 7 seconds later.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Okay.
I've never been on, so I don't know.
Oh, well, welcome.
Okay.
You're not a rocket scientist, are you?
A rocket scientist?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. Neither did I. Go right ahead.
Okay.
It's your turn.
Who am I talking with?
Rick Gilmore.
Okay. Yes, I think we ought to impeach the president.
All right.
I have a question.
I probably have an answer.
What about Hillary? I mean...
What about her?
Okay. You mean she doesn't know this has been going on?
Well, of course she does.
Okay.
She's probably wandering around at night going to lesbian bars or something. She's not interested in Bill's presidential unit. She's not interested in having sex with the president. She doesn't care less about the sex. She doesn't want him to lose his job. And if that's the case, which is just conjecture on my part, I think he should have said to her, "Listen, I got a Scooby in the Oral Office, and I'm in trouble now. I'm going to have to admit it to the nation." And she would have said, "Look, I don't care what you do. Just don't tell the world about me and Janet Reno or whatever's going on in her personal life. I don't know. It's just my opinion." Does that help you out any?
Yeah, and also, maybe we should have put an older president in there.
You mean like Bob Dole?
Ross Perot?
Well, Ross Perot had a bit of the wacko factor going on. I voted for him the first time, but I'll tell you, it was awful tough after he said, well, no, he wasn't going to run, then he was going to run.
Yes, I know about that.
But I and 20 million others, did you vote for Ross Perot?
No, I didn't.
I voted for the little jug-eared, I won't use that kind of language on the radio. But,
okay.
Yeah, he's a bit much. I don't think he could get Congress to agree on anything. I think they'd hate his guts and nothing would come of it.
All right, so where do you think we stand from here?
I think that we have to wait for Bill to be impeached because he's not going to step down.
You think that's what's going to happen?
You just asked me that. Yes, I think that's what's going to happen.
Okay.
Are you married?
No.
Okay. If someone were sitting next to you on the car seat and they held up a flashlight to your left ear, would it shine out the right window?
No.
Okay, just wanted to check. Thanks.
Good night.
Good night. That was pleasant, wasn't it? Like pulling teeth. Dan and Lyndhurst, you're next.
Her and Sue, man, what a well of intelligence. Where'd they get educated? In the back of a cereal box?
I don't know.
Jesus Christ.
I'd rather say I flunked out of Harvard than graduated with honors from Cleveland State.
And just remember, Ted from Middleburg Heights is a child molester. But anyway...
yeah, no personal attacks on Ted.
Okay. But anyway, Bill Clinton is the epitome of the corrupt politician that the liberal media, yes, it's liberal, and the Democrats and the liberals in the Democratic Party have been saying the Republicans are for the last 40 years. And then you can see why they're so afraid. They're afraid there's going to be a Republican in and they're going to have total power. I mean, the worst thing that could happen to a Democrat is to have Newt Gingrich become president after they get rid of Gore. Gore's a retard. I'm sorry.
Well, actually, Al Gore's a very intelligent man.
Yeah, his eyes are too close together. It confuses him.
Well, he probably has no common sense either.
But I wanted to talk about the Congressional Black Caucus, because after this tape comes out, even though it's censored, you're going to hear them crying and whining like they've been crying and whining. First of all, Maxine Waters, Sheila Jackson-Lee, and the Carol Moseley Braun are all welfare mothers, so I'd like to know if Salon Magazine will find out how many illegitimate children they have. Because Kwesi Mfume, the president, already admitted that he had like 10 illegitimate children. Okay, so why aren't they going after his private life? He's a judiciary member, and he's going to vote he's going to vote for Clinton. He's going to back Clinton.
Dan? You're not going to show any racist colors here, are you?
I just figured the blacks will call in, and if the educated ones will know I'm right, and the uneducated ones like Sunshine and all these other idiots will call in.
Who's Sunshine?
She'll call in. She'll be like, Rick, how do you tie your shoes? It's how brilliant that woman is.
Look, I don't know who Sunshine is, and I don't know where you're going with this, and I don't want any racist statements on this program, Dan. Wait a minute, let me say something. Okay. It is my show, isn't it?
Is it?
Let me check. Let me look at the door. It says Rick Gilmore, 9 to midnight. Yeah, it's my show. Now, the only thing that I heard on the news they said that there were a lot more white people out in the countryside here that want the president impeached than black people.
And the blacks are saying, Bill Clinton, he's pretty much black because he loves us. It's like the Democrats have always courted the black vote because it's so easy to court. All they got to do is show up to their church and sing some gospel
Salon magazine, they talk about Henry Heidegger but having an affair 30 years ago, when Kwesi McFume admitted he had 10 illegitimate children. I mean, why don't they investigate him?
Dan, you ask the questions that make everyone scratch their head.
Well, I hope I get some racist banner coming back at you.
Well, I'd hope not. Thanks for the call.
Thank you.
All right, yeah, I'm not trying to race bait here or play the race card or anything. Dan has a way of doing that sometimes. Can't quite put my finger on it, but for some reason, I try to corral him back once in a while, and then sometimes I just say, listen, I'm heavily medicated. I'm still ill. I don't feel right. And by the time I get around to trying to get him back on track, I figure it's too late. I don't know quite what he meant, but I did see that on the news. It did say something about that more whites than blacks wanted Bill Clinton impeached. Well, I don't know why. It should not be a reflection. I'm certain it's not a reflection on color as far as whether or not the president's lying. I think the fact that he's lying, that issue has kind of gone out the window in a lot of people's minds. They're like, oh, well, the country's okay, so what's a few lies? Well, a few lies are important if it's the president. That's what's important. That's what bothers me. Dave in a car phone, you're on the air. Dave.
Hello.
Hi, turn your radio off.
I've got it off.
Okay, now speak up.
Okay, I'll speak up. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Well, I've been listening to your show, and I guess my take is that Clinton should resign as soon as possible. I don't think that's going to happen real quickly, but I think that's what should happen.
Well, I don't think he's going to resign at all.
Well,
if he does, he's going to drag it out as long as he can.
I think there's another shoe to drop with the investigation. I think that what's been released so far on one portion of it is fine, but I think there's another shoe to drop. But I think once it does, then I think some unknown or yet to be named party on the Democratic side is going to approach Clinton with some sort of a deal.
Now, I could see if the testimony was going to be edited for privacy and national security reasons, but as far as being graphic, I say, hey, let it all hang out.
Well, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not talking about in this one. I'm talking about in one of the other investigations.
Right, but I'm saying just in this one, why not get graphic? Why not just let us know what this guy's really like?
Well, I agree.
Because he really is, and from what I've heard from people that know Secret Service agents and whatnot, they say he's really not a real nice guy. And that's what might come out, what we'll find out tomorrow. It's going to be right here from 9 until 1 in the afternoon, right here.
Absolutely.
Tune in, by all means. We've got live, in-depth team coverage of it.
Oh, I'll listen to it as much as I can, but what I'm trying to say is that I do think he's going to be forced into resignation by the Democrats.
I hope you're right. That would spare us a lot of expense and embarrassment.
But I think what's going to bring it to light is not the Lewinsky investigation. What I'm trying to say is everybody's been saying, and I should say more the Clinton apologists have been saying, well, what's going on with all these other investigations? I think what Starr did was go after the Lewinsky thing because it was provable and near-term provable, and he had the most information on that ready to present.
If that's the case, then you know why I think he did it? I think he brought forth the Lewinsky thing first because it involved sex, and we'd say, hey, that got our attention. Now we're paying attention, if nothing else.
No, I don't believe that.
Okay.
I think the only reason was that...
What the hell was that, a car accident?
Sounds like it. It's a big tanker truck that just did a wheelie.
Wow.
Right next to me.
A wheelie?
It sounded like it, didn't it?
Good Lord. I was listening to... Any second now, I thought we were going to have to play a dirge and send flowers to your family or something.
He sure squealed his tires, that's for sure.
I get. Well, look, I'm going to let you go so you can keep driving, okay?
I'm fine.
All right, bye-bye. I got to go, yeah. I understand your point. There's more to come. Much more to come. What's going on? We had Sean from Arkansas call and say, well, look at everything that happened before and everything else that's going to come out. This is just the tip of the iceberg, so to speak. Speaking of, I hate to do that. It's one of those lousy segues that you see on some TV stations. And speaking of icebergs, we don't have any of those in our forecast, but no, I won't do that. I'll just give you the Weather Watch 3 forecast from Eileen McShay. It's going to be rain and thunderstorms, just showers and thunderstorms for the next day and a half, okay? I'll give you that much right now. Tonight, low 60s, tomorrow, low 70s, and Monday night, low 60s. Currently 76 degrees in Cleveland, 76 degrees. Make sure your windshield wipers are in good shape and all that, because it's going to be rain, 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 and from the sounds of the tanker trucks squealing their tires next to you, I'm glad I drove the big car. Let's go to Todd on a car phone. You're next. Todd,
Thank you.
How are you?
Good. How about you, Rick?
All right. Am I on a speakerphone?
Sorry about that.
Can you take me off?
there's a couple of things. Earlier this week in Pennsylvania, an attorney invoked what he called the Clinton rule in a court case, which essentially meant that lying under certain conditions was acceptable.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, it's never acceptable. If you're lying in front of a grand jury, you're in big trouble. If you did it or if I did it, we'd be in big trouble, so what makes him above the law?
But the point is that this has even reached that status in this quick a time. But that's not why I was calling. The real reason I'm calling is federal election laws read that if President Clinton would resign before January 20th, which would be into his final 2 years of his term, and Al Gore is named president, Al Gore can only run for president one time. If he resigns after January 20th, Al Gore can run for president 2 times and essentially be a 10-year president.
Well, quite frankly, I'd be surprised if Al Gore just got in and was able to finish out President Clinton's term. I don't think he'd be elected.
Be that as it may, he becomes the incumbent as a result of a resignation.
Yeah, if Al Gore ever had a shot at the presidency, this is it.
Right.
Other than that,
it, Rick.
All right, thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Yeah, well, that's his only shot as far as I'm concerned. Would we be any worse off? Would he be any more of a liar or any worse of a guy than President Clinton? I highly doubt it. Not very exciting and all that. Kind of dull. And, yeah, I know the Parents Reform, whatever that thing was called, Parents Music Research Resource Group, PMRC. PMRC, let's just call it that. Parents Music Research Council, something like that. With the stickers on the records because of explicit lyrics and Tipper Gore hugging trees and... Listen, I'll deal with anything from here on out. I'll take it. I'll take my chances. We can fight tooth and nail as long as we know we're dealing with somebody that's halfway honest, all right? I can't deal with Bill Clinton. How the hell would you could send him a letter and he'd send you back something, oh, yeah, I love you, and the next week he'd send him a hate letter and he'd say, I hate you, and he wouldn't even remember who the hell you were. We don't matter. It's just like some people say, well, sports figures, they don't care about you. They really don't. And I won't say what team, but I bumped into somebody around town, and they didn't care about me, and they didn't care less, and they just wanted to be left alone, and they'd never heard of any TV stations or radio stations or anything else. They just blew into town to make their money. The president's the same way. You think he really cares? You think he's got a kind heart? No, I don't think so. He's got a career at stake, for God's sake. Don't bother him. He's too busy having sex. TJ in his cab, you're on the air. TJ.
Yeah.
How you doing?
Good.
You got that radio off?
Yeah, I got the radio off now.
Now, how you been?
Pretty good. Is this producer guy?
No, this is Rick Gilmour guy.
Oh, Rick, I got you.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I've been doing good. Yeah, I was going to talk to you about the president.
By all means.
Now, I'm a firm believer that, it's important to have consequences for misbehavior, whether you're a teenager or a president.
That's true.
And the thing with lying, I think lying is devilish, and it's you build a house of cards, and the more lies you tell, lie after lie after lie, eventually that house of cards is going to blow down.
Remember the old, oh, what a tangled web we weave when first we practice to deceive.
Right.
You tell one lie, you have to tell another lie, you have to watch everything you say because you might get caught in one lie or the second lie or the third lie. Well, Bill got caught.
Yeah, but now here's the $1 million question.
I don't know if I can give you $1 million answer.
Well, name a politician who doesn't lie.
Anymore or ever? I could say Richard Nixon because well, I guess he does lie 6 feet under.
He lies 6 feet under. But anyway, here's another interesting thought. Of course, we all know that attorneys all lie, and somebody already mentioned the car salesman, and then you got the insurance salesman. Now, how about coming up with the top 10 liars in the United States?
How about trying to come up with the profession that has the least amount of liars? I mean, a butcher puts a thumb on a scale.
A cab driver goes too far, out of the way.
That's right. If they think you're from another city or something, they'll take you around the block 6 times so they can pump up that fare.
And
I don't know. What would be the most honest profession besides something that would be obvious like none? I mean, not N-O-N-E. I mean, N-U-N.
That's a good one. And then I'm thinking, the top 10 personal liars. I'm thinking O.J. Simpson and Johnny Cochran got to be right up there. It might be fun to try to come up with something like that.
It might be, but it's dog catcher, Dan says. How about dog? They don't lie very often, do they?
Dog catcher.
He bit me, and I had to put him to sleep. No, you can't see the remains. Come over for stew tonight? TJ, I got to go.
Hey, great talking with you.
You too.
Take care.
All right, bye-bye. Yeah, I got to get out of the room. Cliff Bakley's coming into the newsroom to give you team coverage. Is it team? Is it just coverage, Cliff? Coverage. I want to make sure I got this straight, because we will have no BS here. All right? There won't be any alarms going off around here. Cliff Bakley and coverage of what in the world's happening. If you're on the phone line, please be patient.
The home of Cleveland Indians baseball. This is the big one. Now, continuous coverage on News Radio WTAM 1100, Cleveland.
Tokyo's stock market hits a 12-year low. Good evening, I'm Cliff Bakley, and this is the 11:30 report on News Radio WTAM 1100. Details coming up. The Weather Watch 3 forecast, here's Eileen McShay.
Look for showers and thunderstorms overnight with low temperatures falling to the lower 60s.
Currently 75 degrees at your official weather station, News Radio WTAM 1100. Japanese investors are dumping shares amid uncertainty over plans to revise that country's ailing banking system. The Japanese stock market is down 321 points at midday. It'll be interesting to see what effect that has on a volatile Wall Street, even as President Clinton's grand jury testimony is released. Hurricane George has weakened to a Category 3 storm, but forecasters warn it could gain strength again. The storm's packing 125-mile-an-hour winds and is about 85 miles off Antigua in the Caribbean. ABC's Steve Osanami is in San Juan.
Its eye is headed for San Juan, the most populated city in a country the size of Connecticut. Tonight, the island will begin evacuating more than 50,000 people to shelters on higher ground.
On the eve of his videotaped testimony being made public, President Clinton is in New York. He'll speak before world leaders at the annual UN meeting tomorrow. This evening, he is scheduled to meet with Italian Prime Minister Romano Prodi. Monday morning at 9, listen for live, in-depth team coverage of President Clinton's grand jury testimony on News Radio WTAM 1100. You won't be getting a chance to choose your electric company anytime soon. State lawmakers haven't voted on deregulation. The measure on the table would open electric utilities to competition in the year 2000. But if there's no action very soon, it'll be up to the next governor to set the agenda. Cal Ripken has decided to end his amazing Major League consecutive starting streak. The Baltimore Oriole third baseman took himself out of tonight's game, apparently ending the record streak at 2,632 games. The Indians beat Kansas City today 5-3, closing out the regular home season. I'm Cliff Bakley on Cleveland's only news radio, WTAM 1100.
Continuing coverage coming up at the top of the hour. Bulletins at once. News Radio WTAM 1100.
Live from WTAM 1100 Cleveland, Rick Gilmore.
Oh, I can come over later. Sure. Well, I have to... What? Oh, I'll call you back. We're on the air. Ha. Yeah, welcome back in the waning moments of the third, final, and dreaded hour. Talking about President Clinton. I want to sneak in one of these stories here, just because I thought it was simply odd. An Egyptian woman apparently wasn't happy with how her husband divided land in his will. Police say the 352-pound woman pushed the elderly man to the floor and sat on his head with his face down until he suffocated. Well, maybe the only good thing you could say there is at least his face was down. Police say she's admitted to the murder and could face the death penalty. They said the man had left more land to the 4 children he had with his first wife than to the 3 kids that they had together. Good Lord Almighty. I hope she wasn't 352 pounds when he married her, or he was just stupid. I hope she didn't wear spandex either. You ever heard my theory on fat women in spandex? They should be shot. Let's go to Jean in Cleveland. You're next. Hi, Jean.
Hi, how you doing?
Do people often say hygiene around you?
Sometimes.
Are you a clean woman?
Yes.
Clean living?
Yes.
Okay.
Clean living.
So
and I'm not a defective Gene either.
Okay. so nothing wrong with your gene pool?
No.
Okay.
I very much agree with your standpoint on Clinton. As bad as the sex is, and I'm going to be working tomorrow, and I don't know if I want to listen. I know more detail about the whole business than I really care to know. It's gross. But the lying is what is so bad. And number one, my question is, if he's lied about the Lewinsky affair, and I have heard the segment where he said he didn't have it, and I also heard the segment, where he said he had a quote-unquote improper relationship, what else has he lied about?
Everything.
And number two, when he or anybody else says, well, Lewinsky came after him, that's called passing the buck, which mankind has been doing since Adam tried to blame the first sin on Eve.
Yeah,
so that doesn't fly with me.
It's an interesting point you make because I heard Mike Trevisano last week talking about how Monica Lewinski was a female dog. We'll use that word. I won't use the language he used. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The B word.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, it's not really her fault. He's old enough to be her father. And if she was indeed looking for a father figure and then was doing that, well, that's certainly not an Oedipus complex. I don't know what you call it, but it was an Oedipus something.
I mean, and if he could have said, hey, Secret Service, please get this woman out of here.
Keep her away, like the woman that keeps showing up at David Letterman's house all the time.
Yeah.
Those kind of people.
Yes, and he did not do that, did he?
Nope. No, he liked it.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't think he's going to resign. Unfortunately, he's going to put this country through quite a bit, I'm afraid. And possibly because we have been so careless and have let our morals go, perhaps we have gotten what we deserved.
It'd be like the Life cereal commercial. Give it to the Monica. She'll eat anything.
Yeah. Well, I think our morals have gone so far down to the point where we'll accept anything as long as our pocketbooks are benefiting.
That's right. And if we've got do you have any children?
No.
Okay.
I'm not married.
Well, now, when you were a little kid, how old were you when you were taught that lying's bad?
I'm sure it was younger than 7.
I'm sure it was. 2 or 3, probably.
I'm sure it was.
You don't lie and you don't steal.
That's right.
That type of thing.
Right.
And now we've got a president where we have to explain to our children not only about what oral sex is, more importantly, we could leave the oral sex out. We could say, I don't know, Sonny, that's something that adults engage in and it's none of your business.
Yeah.
But when it comes to lying, is it okay to lie because the president lies? No, it's not okay to lie.
No, it is not.
Nope.
That's the worst of it to me.
Yeah.
And that people would be willing to elect a guy like that because their pocketbooks, or they think, their pocketbooks are benefiting right now, and he thinks he's doing the economy a world of good, which I hate to tell you this, people, but the president has nothing to do with the economy. It goes in 50-year cycles.
Yeah, it goes in even smaller cycles than that sometimes, but not in 5 or 6 year cycles.
So,
well, Gene, I'm going to move on because Dan on a car phone says the country's running fine and we should leave Bill alone. So I want to find out what he has to say.
Oh, please. Okay.
All right, thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Yeah, let's go to Dan in his car. You're next. Dan. Dan.
Yeah.
Are you Dan?
No, I'm not Dan.
Oh, who are you?
I'm Alice.
Oh, hi, Alice. Well, Dan must have hung up and you snuck in because we've got a problem with line 3, so we didn't know that there was anybody there or not.
Oh, good. Dan hung up, huh?
What's on your mind, Alice?
Well, I just wanted to ask about this Lewinsky woman. This wasn't her first encounter with a married man, was it?
I haven't.
Involved with some professor in her school at one time.
I don't know what Monica's past was. I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't know if she was involved with the professor, and I've been focusing on what happened with President Clinton.
I think a married man.
Well, that could be.
I think he was married, and she was involved with her professor for years. So, I mean, it's not her first try with a married guy.
No, I'm sure it wasn't. That's the problem. I'm sure it could very well have been, Alice. I'm not sure. You were very quiet, too. I have to move on. Let's go to Joe in Cleveland. You're on the air.
Hey, what's happening?
Hey, Joe. How are you?
All right. Is this my phone or yours?
That's your phone.
What? Uh-oh.
Can you wiggle your cord? Wiggle your cord, Joe.
Oh, there it go. Hey!
How you doing?
I'm all right. What's happening?
What's that yelling in the background?
That's my son, Holmes.
Oh, Holmes?
Yeah, he ain't no Mexican. I just called him Holmes. Hey, check out. I called to tell you, man, that this is my whole thing. I love listening to you, man.
Oh well, I'm glad you're out there.
I love listening. I got a comment for the guy Dan who tried to bring my race into this, my black race.
Oh, Dan from Lyndhurst.
Yeah, but I say all that after I get finished talking about my president. My president that I voted in and I'm happy about because my president is a regular human being. Everybody talking about he lied under oath. let me tell you something, brother. A lie is a lie. If it's under oath or not. Everybody lie each and every day. He's human. And people talk about what they would not have lied under oath. They don't know what they would have done when the pressure came down on them, man. You had a lot of people in war who said they would never turn around and run, and boom, turned around and ran. You understand what I'm saying?
Like President Clinton?
What do you mean, like President Clinton?
Well, during the Vietnam War, he evaded the draft. And...
Oh, come on. You had a lot of people who invaded the draft, man. It turned out to be, hey, that's your American right.
They turned out to be president.
But check this out. Hey, Gilly, am I right, man? Isn't that your American right to do anything you want to do? You can either go to war or you can protest the war. Am I correct?
Well...
Was he wrong for protesting the war because he didn't want to go?
He was wrong for protesting the war. He was wrong for protesting the war and then running for president, in my opinion.
Well, okay, but
if this guy had it in his head years ago that he was going to run for president, well, he should have gone. Look, Al Gore went.
But Gilly, check this out. This America, brother, is beautiful that you think that. Even that's your right. Just like that was his right if he wanted to protest the war. You know what I'm saying?
Joe, do you ever go to church?
Do I ever go? Yes, I do.
Okay, is it okay to lie?
No, it's not okay to lie.
But it's okay if the president lied because the country's going along fine.
I'm not saying that. When I'm saying, check this. Okay, now you want to say that. Let's go a little further since you brought the church into it.
Okay.
Okay, check this out.
All right, I will.
We're gonna forget about the Constitution. Okay, let's go to a higher Constitution. I would like to put a question at every caller that calls in. How many commandments have they broken in their lifetime?
Well.
There you go. Now, who can throw a stone at Clinton?
Let me ask you this.
Talk on, brother.
How many callers do you think running for president?
How many callers do I think are run for president?
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. I don't know.
Don't you think we ought to hold the president up to a higher level, a higher standard?
But when you break it all down,
what do you do?
He's human, just like you and when he gets out of office, and no matter who go in office after him, brother, he's still gonna be human. If you cut him, he's gonna bleed. He's gonna do whatever a human being does.
Joe. Now, don't you think we've had more honest presidents than Bill Clinton?
Have we had more honest presidents? Yes, and we had some corrupt ones too.
When they didn't call Lincoln dishonest Abe.
Well, okay, check this out. All right. Now let's get on this.
I'll check it out.
You got Clinton. Everybody bashing him for him lying, okay?
Right.
Talking about impeachment, all right?
Right.
What about Reagan and Bush and the Contra thing?
Well, nothing happened.
But they lied. Hey, check this out, though.
Hey, I'm heavily medicated, and it's late.
Check this out, though.
Wow.
This is something that I would like to say. Okay, then I'm going to get on Dan. But I was over a friend of mine's house, man, when I was younger, and this stuck into my mind with his father. His father told me and him to wash his wife's car because she was going to church the next day to pray for us.
Okay. Is this a joke or is this the truth?
No, this is serious. But when I thought about it, me myself, I was like, wow, you know. But check this out. He said, Cliff, your mother going to church tomorrow to pray for us because we all sin. And my friend said, Dad, I don't sin. He said, boy, you just lied. That's a sin. He said, when you're human, you can't help but to sin. He said, Cliff, it's a sin when you get some, and it's a sin when you don't. I always thought that was funny. But check this out, man. This is about my man Dan who tried to bash, And
before you get to Dan, let me just say to you that even Nixon was honest enough to admit that he lied. How's that?
Nixon was telling everybody that he didn't do it. He was just like Bill now.
Yeah, but when he resigned, he gave it up.
He had no choice.
He gave it up.
He had no choice. But let me tell you something. I think me myself, knowing that the president is human, he's human now, and when he leave office, if he's pressed to leave office, if he leave office on his own, he's going to be a human. I'm a human, you are human, we all humans, so hey.
Wouldn't you like to be a human, too?
Hey. but my man.
Yeah, hurry up about the Dan thing, because I got all these lines of blinking.
Okay, my thing about Dan is this. When he got on trying to bash blacks for sticking up to my man Clinton, it just one thing popped into my mind, all right? The thing that popped into my mind was this. The night he was conceived, his mother should have been doing throat aerobics on his father.
Now,
he would never been in this earth.
Now, Joe, I'm moving on. I gotta go.
Gilly, you take it easy now.
All right, bye-bye.
Later.
All right, yeah, I got Joe over here, too, just in case we ever need him.
You get your funky off. I get my funky off. Every red-blooded American gets his funky off. How come the president can't?
Well, apparently it's okay. Joe says he doesn't care what the president does because he's just human. Well, by golly, there's human waste, there's human sewage, and then there's humans that we elect to high office. I don't think Bill's the kind of guy we should have in high office. Before I forget, I want to remind you, live in-depth team coverage of the president's testimony right here tomorrow morning starting at 9 a.m., all 4 hours of it. We're pushing Dr. Laura off. We gave her the day off. We said, Dr. Laura, don't come in. So all you Dr. Laura fans, don't fret. She'll be back on Tuesday, and I'll be on tomorrow night from 11 p.m. until 1 a.m., hopefully feeling better. Gradually, day by day by day, as I take my pills, the colorful pills, and drive home with one eye closed and all that. These things knock you for a loop. Tomorrow I should be A1 and 100%, and only on for 2 hours, because 2 hours is a breeze. 3 hours is okay. 4 hours would have been hell. Just because my voice starts to, I could do Taster's Choice commercials from the 1960s. Becomes very resonant and starts to hurt. Back to the phones. Dan in his car. You're on the air.
Gilly.
Dan.
Check this out.
All right.
For one thing, the people that voted for Clinton, how many of these people are really educated? And this is what gets me going on all along. The fact is that Clinton has lied to the public with the flowers crap that went on with her.
Yeah.
He's come out now and he's lied again. The guy has consistently lied.
Yeah. And been reelected even though we knew he was a liar.
What is the point? Right. Well, that's the thing. Who are the people that are electing him? Who are the people that are voting for this guy? Reagan was in office, and he ran the country. He brought the country back after Carter's debacle. And Clinton has done a very fine job of running the country.
I think Carter was unfortunately ill-timed. I think
Carter was a peanut farmer.
I think it would have worked out better.
Carter was a peanut farmer.
Wait a minute. Carter's a nuclear physicist as well.
It's the same
Carter's an extremely intelligent man. Don't you think that Carter would have come off in a better light had he been elected in 1992?
No.
No?
No.
Do you think...
Carter was a horse's rear end.
Wait a minute. Stop. Wait a minute.
Wait a second. This guy could
Wait a
not
minute.
defend this country. He could not defend this country.
All right.
When the Russians took over Afghanistan, what was this guy's stand? Well, we won't go to the Olympics. Oh, show us how, Jimmy. Show us how.
Let me ask you a question. What do you think that President Clinton will be doing after he's out of office? Do you think he'll be building homes for Habitat for Humanity?
What he'll be doing is he'll be having a bunch of attorneys gathering him around to see what the lesbian stupid wife he has is going to do about it.
I don't know. I think he's going to have a suction cup installed above his zipper.
Let me ask you something.
What?
Gilly, and this is the sense and that you have to look at it. I mean, you're a homosexual. We know that.
I'm not a homosexual.
You're a fag, Gilly.
Hey, I am not a homosexual.
You like to sniff males.
No, sir. Your history. I am as heterosexual as the day is long in the summertime. Sir? If you don't agree with me, just call my girlfriend. She'll tell you. Believe me, I'm all man, especially from the waist down. Mike in his car, you're on the air.
Hey, Rick, how you doing?
Good. Mike, can you hang on for 2 seconds?
Certainly.
The Weather Watch 3 forecast from Eileen McShay. Tonight, showers, thunderstorms possible, low 60s. Tomorrow, much of the same as far as the showers goes, low 70s. Let's look ahead, shall we? Sure. Monday night, more of the same. Low 60s, currently 76 degrees in Cleveland. 76 degrees. Mike, go right ahead.
Rick, first I wanted to thank you for the great air show tickets. It was awesome.
Oh, you won the air show tickets.
Yes, I did.
Oh, well you're welcome.
Thank you.
You don't mind winning tickets from someone who a caller thinks is a homosexual.
Oh, no, I think my wife thinks you're a Studley guy.
Ooh,
Yeah, she's seen your picture on the net. Hey,
yeah.
What I wanted to say was, Bill Clinton not only protested the Vietnam War, but he did it on foreign soil.
That's right.
And that makes every American look bad.
Oh, I agree.
And just can't. I never voted for him in the first place.
Neither did I.
And I would welcome any opportunity to see him disposed of.
Gee, we agree on everything.
Yes, we do.
Okay, well, then I guess we have nothing further to discuss.
Thanks, Rick.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye-bye. That was easy, wasn't it? Well, why not? Let's go to Irene. You're on the air. Irene?
Yes, sir. How are you?
Good. You have a question for me?
Yes. Tell me something if you know the answer. How come Bill Clinton doesn't reveal his medical records at any time?
Gee, I don't know.
You don't? That's a good question.
Why? Do you think he's insane or something?
I think so.
You think there's some hidden reason why he won't reveal his medical records?
That's true. There might be a wart on there. I don't know.
Well, we know it curves some sort of direction or another. At least
it has a curve, huh?
Well, they're grading on a curve. I hear these days. They gave him a C minus.
A C minus?
I don't know.
They should have gave him a F.
Well, I think that's already been arranged, Irene. Let's go to Dave. You're next. Dave?
Yes.
Carphone Dave?
Yes.
Go right ahead.
Oh, well, great. First off, great show. First-time caller, love your show. And I just wanted to share a quick anecdote with you all. When I was at boot camp in the Marine Corps at Parris Island about 3 years ago,
yeah,
I had a old, grizzled drill instructor who was from Arkansas. And one day he took us off to the side and he said, I may be from Arkansas, but it is against my religion to call Mr. Clinton Commander-in-Chief. So I just thought I'd share that with you all, and thank you, and keep up the good work.
All right. Now, are you going to be listening tomorrow morning?
Yes, I will.
Keep it glued right here.
I will.
All right. Thanks. Bye-bye. Yeah, keep it glued right here for in-depth team coverage of President Clinton's testimony beginning at 9. Now, I'll bet you I'll be asleep. I may be up. I don't know. This medication's been knocking me out, so I've generally been sleeping till about noon. But I'll keep apprised of it all day long. I'll keep it tuned into Mike Trevisano. I'll keep it tuned in all over the TV dial, anywhere I have to get the information, because I'm going to be in tomorrow night from 11 until 1. So the lost hour of Art Bell will be found someplace else again in the future. I don't know. So I'll be on until 1, and that's usually the case, isn't it? If I push off Art Bell for an hour, all kinds of calls come in later in the night. What happened to Art Bell? What happened to Art Bell? If you call the board operator, they can't do anything about it. And if you call management, you know what they're going to tell you? What was more important in the big scheme of things? President Clinton's testimony or an hour of Art Bell? I know Art's important. How often do you get a chance to respond? You can call right here tomorrow night, talk to me, and talk to 38 states and half of Canada about what's going on with President Clinton and the testimony. You can do that. You can also write to my friend Rick DeMarco. Get this postcard campaign going to get President Clinton removed from office. Write to Rick DeMarco, 9405 Sherman Lane, Sherman Lane, North Royalton, Ohio, 44133. Or you can call Rick if you want during business hours. Do that. Area code 440-237-3759. And he's our local person for Citizens for Resign by 99, our local rep. We'll try and get enough postcards going, and they'll be sent to the president. It says, hey, Bill, sorry, you broke some rules, and we want you out. We want you gone. It was Bill that said in 1974, if a president of the United States ever lied to the American people, he should resign. Well, gee, the worm has turned. Turnabout is fair play. Ivan in Cleveland, you're next. Hi, Ivan.
Rick Gilmour.
Ivan.
This is Ivan calling you.
Well, welcome.
Welcome to you. Thank you very much. I would like to, I know, I understand you are under the weather tonight.
Yeah, and I'm also running out of time.
Oh, you are? Well, maybe you should not have kept me on hold for an hour.
Oh, did you call? You're wasting valuable time to complain with me. I'd love to argue with you about keeping you on hold for. You know why I kept you on hold for an hour?
I do not know.
It was not personal. It's because the little numbers on the screen on the big board up here that say how long callers have been waiting are not working tonight.
Well, I tell you something.
Quickly.
You Joe. Now, this Joe, he says he love you show. He call big sports kahuna. He call my.
Wait. Now, see, wait a minute. Now, Ivan, you're wasting more valuable time talking about other things other than it says on the big board. You agree with me? Do you agree with me?
Joe.
Do you agree with me or not? Do you agree with me or not?
Maybe Joe.
Maybe you should call somebody else some other time. Not here, okay? Almost out of time. One more quickie. Greg in Cleveland, you're next. Greg. Greg, 3, 2, 1. Good day. Bill in North Olmsted, you're on the air.
Hi,
you've got like a minute.
Okay, quickly, regarding the lying. Everybody speeds, too, on the freeway. Does that mean we should take down all the speeding signs? Now everybody's allowed to speed because everybody's done it at one time or another?
Bill, that's a silly comment, and I'm surprised by you. I don't know you. Everybody speeding on the highway is something different than lying under oath in front of a grand jury when you're the president. Doesn't that make any sense? Makes sense to me. Wow, some of these, is there a full moon? Because some of these callers, like that Kathleen, you could hold a candle up to one ear and blow it out through the other one. No full moon? Maybe it's a new moon. There's something unusual going on. I'm the one who's taking medication, and I'm normal. Go figure. Anyway, I want to thank you for calling. I want to thank you for listening. I want to thank Tom for screening the calls, and I want to thank Dan for pulling the strings, pushing all the buttons and dials, and keeping this program on track. I want to remind you, well, stay tuned right after Bill Wills and the Morning Team and AM Cleveland and all that. After that, 9 a.m., live in-depth team coverage of President Clinton's testimony right here on the big one, WTAM 1100. All 4 hours of it. Dr. Laura will be back on Tuesday. I'll be back tomorrow night from 11 p.m. until 1 a.m. Stay tuned for Cliff Bakley and in-depth team coverage of what in the world is happening.